Hey everyone. Welcome back to another video. First of all, I wish you all a happy new year. May this year be the best yet, filled with much prosperity and overflowing with love. This video is the final part of What If Naruto Was the Gambler Shinobi. As always, huge thanks to all of my Patreons. Making these videos would be impossible without you guys' support, especially with all the restrictions YouTube places on my type of content. After this video, feel free to head over there, where you can find about 30 other different stories to enjoy. Also, feel free to send me any messages over there if you have any questions or even if you just want to chat. Link to all of that will be in the description. Anyways, everyone, enjoy the video. Chapter 11. Naruto was skipping through the streets of Konoha, heading towards the Namikaze compound, whistling a happy tune when a voice stopped him. Halt! Naruto stopped in his tracks and lazily turned his head towards the speaker. Did you say something? Rock Lee broke down crying. Oh, Naruto-kun. Your hipness has reached new heights, he shouted as he clenched his fist. Come Naruto-kun. Let us spar. Let us sweat out youthful sweat together. Sweat. Our youthful sweat. Together? Naruto asked, frozen on the spot, just like everyone around them. Lee. That sounded gay. Are you gay, Lee? What? I most certainly am not. I am powered by youth and as your rival, I challenge you, the hippest of all that is hip, Naruto-kun. Aha, Naruto said as he flipped open his fan. So, what's the challenge? I challenge you to a running contest, Lee shouted with a thumbs up. We will run around Konoha on our hands. 20 laps. Aw, man. Couldn't you have said something like a ramen eating contest? Or maybe a dengo eating contest, Naruto said, thought he mostly said it to himself, pondering if there is such a thing as a dengo eating contest. If it's real, I should enter. Dengo. The freshness. He thought with a happy grin and drool coming out of the corner of his mouth. Anyo. Naruto-kun? Lee asked with a raised eyebrow. Naruto looked at him with wide eyes. How can he lift those things? They're huge. They probably weigh a ton. Maybe it's some sort of alien symbiont. Naruto thought and his eyes widened. Oh, my god. They're trying to take over the world. First guy sensei, now Lee. They're reproducing. Naruto-kun, Lee shouted, now having his face just inches away from Naruto. Naruto-kun, are you okay? Naruto snapped out of his musings, only to see Lee's face just inches away from his own. He did what any other rational man would do. He smacked him with his fan before taking off. No. You will not take over me, symbiotic fiend, he shouted as he ran towards the Namikaze compound. Lee just sat on the ground, holding his nose. What? What the hell just happened? He asked, all thoughts about youth temporarily forgotten. Then he remembered his challenge. And Naruto-kun. Come back. Let's work our bodies to exhaustion together. The entire village sweat dropped. Sasuke was sitting outside the Namikaze gates, waiting patiently for Naruto to come, only he never did. Sasuke was a patient boy, but Naruto was seriously starting to piss him off. Suddenly, the sound of wood meeting the ground was heard as footsteps approached. Out of the bushes emerged Naruto, sweating and panting. He wiped his brow. Phew. I thought those things were gonna lash out at me, he said to himself and looked up to see Sasuke tapping his foot on the ground impatiently. You're late, he said, causing Naruto to smile. Ah, sorry. I was running from two symbiotic mega eyebrows, Naruto said as he walked up to the gate. Symbiotic. Mega eyebrows? Sasuke asked while Naruto channeled some chakra into the gate, making it open automatically. Lee. Was all Naruto needed to say for Sasuke to know what he meant. Well, anyway. Let's get training, he said and pumped his fist into the air before lowering it to glare at Sasuke. And one more thing. What? If you so much as look at my sister the wrong way, I'm gonna torture you for 3 days, then I'm going to torture you for 3 more days and then I'm going to try to keep you alive long enough to torture you for yet another 3 days before finally killing you after cutting your nuts off, Naruto said, leaking killer intent. Roger. At Namikaze Training Ground 2, Naruto was sitting on top of a boulder that had been placed on Sasuke's back as he did his push-ups. What's the point of this exercise? This is one of the many exercises Sarutobi-sensei put me through. He says that it makes the student stronger, and it also lets the teacher take extreme pleasure from watching the student suffer. I thought only he could take pleasure from it, but I guess I was wrong. It is fun to watch you struggle. Why you bastard? Less talking, more push-ups. You still have 13 to go, Naruto said calmly as he started fanning himself. After that, I want you to start practicing your Chidori. But I already know Chidori. I should be learning a new jutsu, Sasuke said as he struggled. Only 6 more to go. Naruto sighed. I can't teach you until you learn one thing, Sasuke, he said, making Sasuke look up, and nearly fall and get crushed. What's that? A shinobi's strength isn't judged by how many jutsus he uses. I mean, if you practice your Chidori to perfection, you could start making it more advanced, more powerful. Itachi knew this, that's why he didn't copy every single jutsu he saw. He copied a jutsu, then he worked on it until he mastered it. That's why he could probably do a cage bunshin without using hand seals, just like I can. So, to summarize. If two shinobis meet and use the exact same jutsu, who do you think would win? The one who's more sufficient in it. Exactly. The one who's mastered it to the point where he can do it perfectly would make a stronger, let's say fireball, and it would just annihilate the opponent's fireball. I got it, Sasuke said as he finished his last push-up. There. I'm done. Meanwhile, in Namikaze Training Ground 3, Naruto was standing in front of Jiraiya. The Naruto who was currently relishing in torturing Sasuke was merely a cage bunshin. Alright, Naruto, Jiraiya said with a grin as he performed a couple of hand seals. I'm going to teach you a really cool jutsu. Naruto grinned. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm sure you will, Jiraiya said and slammed his hands into the ground. Kushios, Gamagaker no Jutsu, summoning, hiding in a toad technique. In a poof of smoke, Jiraiya disappeared and all that was left was a small, yellow toad on the ground. What the hell? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. That's just a henge, isn't it? Suddenly, the toad opened its mouth and a hand came out of it, successfully freaking Naruto out. Following the hand was Jiraiya's head, followed by the rest of his body. Soon enough, Jiraiya was standing in front of him in all his glory. Now, was that cool, or was it cool? Jiraiya asked with a smug grin on his face. Did you just go into the stomach of a toad? Naruto asked, a twitch in his eye. Well, yeah, but it's not slimy or anything in there, Jiraiya said as the toad puffed away. This jutsu takes advantage of the toad's space/time transportation ability to travel inside a toad and then emerge at a location. This hidden means of transportation makes it an excellent jutsu for infiltration, as a mere toad can go where a highly renowned ninja, like yours truly, cannot. You're really full of yourself, aren't you? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow, getting a happy nod from Jiraiya. At Namikaze Training Ground 1, another shadow clone was teaching Misao the Kawarimi while Kushina watched. The Naruto with Jiraiya was also a cage bunshin. Talk about taking multitasking to a whole new level. Suddenly, the three Namikazes felt something tingling in the back of their heads. Oh, someone's at the gates, Naruto said and seamlessly created a cage bunshin to go and open the gate. Shortly after, two blurs appeared at the training ground and there, in all their glory, stood Guy and Lee. Yosh. Good morning, Kushina-sensei, Guy shouted with a grin. How are you on this most youthful morning? Naruto-kun, Lee shouted, standing in a nice guy pose. You, my eternal rival, never accepted my challenge. Then, Guy turned to Lee. Lee. You have an eternal rival? Yes, Guy-sensei. Naruto-kun here is really hip. That's why I have decided to make him my eternal rival. And our wills will clash in an explosion of youth. L. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sen. None of the green beasts could continue as Guy was beaten into the ground by a bench, courtesy of Kushina, and Lee was beaten into the ground by a fan, courtesy of Naruto. Oi, Baka, Naruto shouted at Lee. You're scaring me, Sao, he shouted and pointed at his younger sister, who was just standing there, staring with wide eyes. Lee looked up and spotted Misao. What? What a beauty. Misao-san. I am Rock Lee. Will you be my girlfriend? He was beaten into the ground again. Don't even think about it. Naruto growled and turned to Misao just stood there. Imoto, are you okay? The first encounter with these guys tend to be a little scary. Those eyebrows. They're huge. What are they? I've been wondering that too, Naruto said and turned to Lee. Lee. I'll accept my position as your eternal rival, and I'll accept your challenge if, and only if, you don't hit on Misao. Lee was up on his feet faster that you could say WTF? Yosh. Then we will run around the village on our hands. 20 laps, he shouted and got on his hands, followed by Naruto. Are you ready, Naruto-kun? I'm ready, Naruto said calmly. Start us off, Ka-san. Hi, Kushina said and walked over to them. Ready, set, go. They took off in a blur, leaving only a cloud of dust behind. Gee, they're fast, Misao said as she stared at the spot they were once in. That's what physical exercises give you, Misao-chan. Kushina baited. If you train like I want you to, you'll be just as fast. Oh really? Misao shouted with an excited grin on her face. Guy got off the ground and cried manly tears. Lee. My student has finally found a rival who's a challenge for him. Yosh. I will run 300 laps around the village. If I cannot do that, I'll climb the Hokage monument with my teeth, and if I cannot do that, I'll... He was beaten by the bench again. Shut up, Kushina shouted while Misao just stood there, frozen in fear. Then, a small, yellow toad hopped onto the training ground. What the? Misao asked as she stared at the toad who just stared right back at her. Then, the toad opened its mouth and out of it came Naruto's hand, followed by the rest of him. Yes. I managed to do it, Naruto shouted as he got off the ground. And on the first try too. Hey. Uro Ojiji is gonna be pissed. This village, Kushina said, shaking her head with a smile on her face. It's still just as strange as it was when I left. Shit, Naruto said as he and Lee sat in the local dengo shop. I need to train my arms a little more. I don't think I'll be able to hold a pair of chopsticks for a while, he said and grabbed a dengo stick with his shaking and tired arm. But you won nonetheless, Naruto-kun. The score is now Naruto-kun, 1, Rock Lee, 0, Lee said as he took a bite out of his own dengo. I won, but I think I ruptured a muscle or something in my right arm, Naruto said with a pout. The women around him felt a sudden urge to run up and hug him for comfort, only to remember that one of his girlfriends was Mitarashi Anko. Why? Do I have to do this? Came Sasuke's angered voice from outside. They looked outside to see Naruto's cage Bunshine standing on Sasuke's feet, while Sasuke walked on his hands. You need to train your arms. What's the point of learning taijutsu, if you don't have the strength to back it up? Naruto's clone asked as he waved to the people around him. No offense, Sasuke, but you're weak. Well, not weak, but weaker than the rest of the taijutsu users. Kakashi obviously didn't know what he did when he trained you. Did he only think about filling your head with jutsus? Mostly. He also worked on my speed, Sasuke said with a groan as his arms started getting tired. How long do I have to do this? You have to walk to Ichiraku. There, I'll buy you lunch and then I'll tell you what we're going to do next. I thought I was going to practice using my Chidori. Well, I had a change of heart. You can't do that. I'm doing it right now. Why, you bastard? I know. Don't you just love me? Their voices drifted off as they passed the dengo stand. That was you, Naruto-kun, Lee said as he pointed at the spot where Sasuke and Naruto once was. Or was it? Or are you a fake? No, Lee. That was a cage Bunshine. That's the beauty of that jutsu. Have your cage Bunshines train while you eat, sleep or do whatever the hell you want, Naruto said with a grin as he took another bite out of his dengo. It's settled. I definitely hate this guy. Sasuke thought as he was forced to do an exercise Naruto so lovingly called kunai an ass exercise. He was supposed to channel chakra to his butt cheeks, the fleshy area that you sit on, that didn't have any form of tenketsu at all. Thus, it was extremely hard to channel chakra to that particular area. Not only that, he had to turn the chakra into a shield to protect his ass from sitting on the pointy end of the kunais that were stuck into the ground. Meanwhile, Naruto just laughed with a maniacal grin on his face, though most of it was hidden by his fan. Oh, look at the time, Naruto said, staring up into the sky. Time passes quick when you're having fun, doesn't it? He asked while Sasuke just grumbled, patting his bleeding ass with a towel. Training's over for today, I have a mission. What? But what am I supposed to do? It's only noon and I'll get bored. Naruto put a hand on his chin. Well, there are 3 things I do when I'm bored. One is having sex with my fiancées, which you can't do because then I'd have to kill you in a most horrible way. The second is to just eat dengo and the third, he said, digging around in his pocket, pulling out the Orochimaru voodoo doll, is punching the doll. It doesn't really hurt him, I think, but it's actually quite fun to punch him. He tossed the doll to Sasuke. Have fun. And with that, he disappeared in a swirl of cards. Sasuke examined the doll. Why are there puncture marks in its ass and groin? He asked out loud. Meanwhile, in Auto, Orochimaru shivered. What's the matter, Orochimaru-sama? Kabuto asked while Orochimaru stared at him with wide eyes. I just had a feeling of sorts. Like a flashback of old pains. Horrible pain, Orochimaru said as he rubbed his crotch that was still quite sore. Kabuto freaked out when he saw the snake Sannin rub his crotch and quickly left the room. Sasuke-kun. You will be mine, Orochimaru said, licking his lips as he continued to rub his crotch, even though the pain had long since receded. Sasuke shivered. You said you had a mission, Naruto cried, his face twisted into what looked like a mix of anger, shock, sadness and raw hate. I thought I was just gonna go out and kill someone, not go on a fucking 2-year training trip. Naruto. Jiraiya wants to train you, giving you his full attention every day. He can't do that here, since he's our information gatherer. That's why he requested that you come with him. Naruto sighed. I don't have a choice, do I? Nope. Fine. Good. I'll inform Jiraiya. Meet him at the gates in 2 hours. Roger, Naruto said with a nod before using his Karuta Shunshine, playing card body flicker, to go to the Namikaze compound. What? You're leaving? But we just started training, Sasuke shouted while Naruto just groaned. Don't be such a bitch, Naruto said as he handed Sasuke a scroll. There are a few Katen and Raiten jutsus that I want you to practice in there. I'm not a Raiten user and I don't use Katen too often, so they're better off with you. If you need physical training, go to Kakashi-san or Ka-san. And remember, no touching my sister. That's a rule Ka-san has as well. Sasuke pocketed the scroll and sighed. Alright, but can I train here? This is the only place I can train without having my fangirls spying on me. Thank you for luring most of them over to you, by the way. You're welcome, Naruto said with a nod. Well, I gotta go say goodbye to my fiancés. I've already said goodbye to my mom and my sister, so that just leaves them. See you in 2 years then. Yeah. You better be stronger when I come back, Naruto said with a glare. If I find out that you've been slacking off, I'm going to work you to exhaustion and then some. Got it. Naruto sat in his huge living room with Kurenai, Anko and Mai in front of him. I'm leaving for 2 years, he said, making the 3 women's eyes widen. What? Anko asked with a pout. Why? Because Uro Ojiji wants to give my training his all, and he can't do that since he's going to be out of the village, thus, I'm going on a 2-year training trip. Aw. We're not going to be able to see you for 2 years? Mai asked with an incredibly cute pout, making Naruto sigh as he dug around in his pocket. Don't worry. I found these at Ninjas R Us, he said and handed each of the women a stuffed chibi Naruto doll, all of them grinning, holding their fans in front of their faces. 3 shouts of kawaii could be heard throughout Konoha. Misao and Kushina ran into the room, looking around frantically. I heard something was cute, Kushina shouted and spotted the dolls. As did Misao. Hey kawaii. Don't worry, Naruto said and dug out 2 more dolls out of his pocket. I got 2 more. Chapter 12. Jiraiya and Naruto slowly walked down an empty forest road. Suddenly, Jiraiya's ears twitched. Jumping pantyhose, Naruto. My pervy sense is tingling, he shouted and looked to the east. Somewhere out there, there's a lonely soul, looking for assistance. We must go, my student. Jiraiya suddenly grabbed Naruto's arm and started running, dragging poor Naruto with him. Soon enough, after a long run, they stood inside a quiet little village, standing in front of some kind of club called the Blue Oyster. The Blue Oyster? Jiraiya asked. The Blue Oyster? Naruto thought as he tilted his bucket hat backwards and thought. I've heard of this place. Isn't this a gay bar? Suddenly, his eyes turned blood red, horns sprouted from his forehead and an evil grin slowly spread on his face. Oh, the Blue Oyster. I've heard of this place. It's a world-famous strip club. Some of the hottest girls in the world work in there. Jiraiya's mouth started watering and a blood started gushing out of his nose. Women, he said with a grin on his face. Let's go, Naruto. Sorry, Uro Ojiji, Naruto said, shaking his head with a sigh. I wish I could go in there with you, not. But I'm engaged. One way or another, Mai, Anko and Kurenai would somehow find out if I went into a place like this. Fine, suit yourself, Jiraiya exclaimed with a grin and ran inside. Big mistake. Once he got inside, Jiraiya saw nothing but muscular men with thick mustaches, wearing black leather clothes. What the? Oh, my god. One of the men, surprisingly a soprano, strange for someone as big as him, squealed as he pointed at Jiraiya. It's Jiraiya-sama of the Sannin. All the men squealed and rushed at him, ripping off Jiraiya's clothes as well as their own. No. Naruto. Save me. Meanwhile, Naruto sat in a tree, polishing his horns and relishing in his sensei's and grandfather's pained screams. Ha! That'll teach you not to peep on me and my fiancés, he said and snorted. Uro Ojiji. Chapter 13. I can't believe it's been 2 years. Naruto, still dressed the exact same way, except he'd invested in a pair of geta, the same clogs as Jiraiya and Urahara has, and wore them instead of his combat boots, said as he and his perverted grandfather walked through the gates after showing their identification to Ashokti Zumo and Kotetsu at 10 p.m. Not much has changed, Jiraiya said as he looked up at the Hokage monument. Except for the fact that they've carved Tsunade Heime's face into the monument. Kinda feels like a desecration, doesn't it? Naruto asked as he too stared at the monument. The two looked at each other for a few moments before bursting out laughing. Man, am I glad Tsunade wasn't here to hear that? Jiraiya said with a grin as he scratched the back of his head. Well, we better go see her, tell her that we're back. You do that, Naruto said as he flicked open his fan. I have 3 beautiful ladies to visit, along with my mom, sister and my student. So, let me get this straight. You get to go off and do your things whole I have to go report to Tsunade? That's right, Naruto said with a nod. And why can't it be the other way around? Because I can beat the living shit out of you, Naruto stated tiredly. Now, I'm tired and I want to go home and get some rest. Bye. Was all he said before disappearing, leaving Jiraiya to sulk. Naruto was met with a strange sight as he entered Anko's bedroom. Anko's legs were sprawled out in her bed, her right arm was behind her head, her left arm was on her right breast and she had the chibi Naruto tucked inside her panties. A drop of blood made its way out of her nose and she had a lustful grin on her face. Missed me much? He thought as he headed off to the next room, Kurenai's room. Kurenai was at least a little more dignified than Anko. She was just sprawled out on the bed, hugging the chibi Naruto between her breasts. Mai was sleeping like Anko, only she had the head of the chibi Naruto in her mouth, sucking on it like a pacifier. Naruto's sweat dropped before heading off to bed, deciding to tell everyone about his return in the morning. In his home, Lee suddenly sat up in his bed. Someone very hip just entered this village. Author's note, there is a lemon here, I can't post it on YouTube as my channel will be taken down. If you want to read it, link to the story is in the description. If you are a patron then you can also find the unedited version over there. Lemon over. All immature brats can look again. Thanks once more to QB16. R&R. Naruto sighed as he untangled himself from his 3 fiancées. That was one hell of a welcome home. He put his clothes on again and left to find his family. He found them training at Training Ground 3. Ohio, Mina-san, Naruto said lazily as he walked onto the training ground, grinning behind his fan at their shocked looks. Suddenly, he was glom-tackled by a blonde ball of energy. Ni-san, Misao cried as she tried to break Naruto's neck with her deadly hug. Ayamoto. Need. Oxygen. Misao looked to the side and saw that Naruto's face had turned nice shade of blue. She immediately let go. Ah, I'm sorry. Naruto. When did you come back? Kushina asked as she walked up to them, giving Naruto a much softer hug. I came back yesterday, Naruto said with a grin before turning to Misao, looking serious. Has he made a move on you? Who? Misao asked with a raised eyebrow. Sasuke. What? No. He's dating Ino. I have found a man, though, Misao said, making Naruto's eyes widen. Naruto immediately went into overprotective brother mode, dropping his lazy attitude as he started leaking killer intent. You what? Who is it? Is it Kiba? I'll kill him. Relax, Ni-san, Misao said with a sigh. It's not Kiba, and you're not gonna kill him. Then. Who is it? It's not Lee, is it? What? God, no. It's Gaara. Naruto froze. Gaara. As in, insane killer with a blood fetish, Gaara? That's the one. Though he's not an insane killer with a blood fetish anymore. You changed him, Misao said, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow. Well, Indirectly, anyway. Flashback. Misao stood alone on Namikaze training ground 2. She was currently doing physical exercises, punching and kicking a log, when Gaara slowly walked up to her with his arms crossed. Uzumaki. Was all he said, making Misao turn to look at him. Who are you? And how did you get in here? Where is he? Gaara asked, completely ignoring Misao's questions. Who? Uzumaki. Where is he? Naruto? Why do you want to see him? And who are you? Suddenly, sand wrapped around Misao's body, tightening around her, causing her to scream out in pain. Gaara walked up to her, glaring menacingly at her. I want to kill him. He growled. But first, you're going to tell me, how did he get so strong? What? Misao asked, finding it very hard to breath. How did he get so strong? How did he manage to beat me? Well, I don't know. I don't even know who you are. All I know is that Naruto Ni-san is very protective of his friends. That's all I've gotten to know about him. There's something special about him. I can feel it, Gaara shouted as the sand tightened even more. You know what it is? Tell me. Well, he's a Jinchuriki. Gaara froze. Jinchuriki? He's like me? You're a Jinchuriki too? I am the holder of the Ichibi no Shukaku, Gaara said as he stared at his hand for a few seconds before looking towards Misao again. Tell me, how is he not like me? How is he so happy? He has friends, family, people who loves him. How can anyone not be happy about that? Misao shouted, finding courage she didn't know she had. He's lived a hard life. But his friends has kept him out of the darkness. Friends? What good are friends? Flashback ends. After that, I started telling him more about you. Then I took him around Konoha and introduced him to your friends. Then, after a while, he started asking me more about myself. We started talking, then we started dating and now, he's my boyfriend. Konoha asked for a shinobi trade. Shikamaru went to Suna and Gaara came here. Shikamaru is currently dating Tamari-san, by the way, Misao said with a happy smile on her face. Naruto stared at her for a while before speaking. Where is he? What? Gaara. Where is he? Why do you want to know, Naruto? Kushina asked and sighed. You're not going to do something stupid, are you? No. I just want to talk to him, Naruto said with a smile and his lazy, or, as Lee would say, hip attitude back. So, where is he? He's here in the Namikaze compound. He lives over in Building 9, Misao said and shook her head when she saw Naruto's glare. No, we don't live in the same house and no, we haven't had sex yet. Good, Naruto said as he turned to leave. I'm going to go visit him then. Gaara had just woken up and stretched lazily as he went into his kitchen. Having visited the best seal expert who was currently residing in Konoha, the Sandaime, Gaara had gotten his seal fixed and discovered something. He loved sleeping. He no longer heard the Shukaku's voice in his head, telling him to kill everything, but instead, now that the berserker seal was gone, he talked to Gaara, helped him control the sand, gave him advice. He also told Gaara that he should go for Misao, that she would be good for him. He had friends and a loving girlfriend. What more can a guy ask for? His answer came in the form of a knock on his door. Gaara happily walked towards the door, hoping for a good morning kiss from Misao. He was mighty surprised when he opened the door and saw another blonde. A male blonde with a menacingly calm smile on his face. Yo! Naruto? Can I come in? Naruto asked politely and Gaara nodded, scared out of his mind. Not much could scare Gaara, but the way Naruto was staring at him, it meant he'd found out about him and Misao. Nice decorating, Naruto said as he walked through the small house. All the furniture was a sandy brown, the ceiling was white and the walls were, strangely enough, sky blue. Naruto just walked around the house, looking around, occasionally opening a cabinet or something, looking around inside. Finally, when he got to the kitchen, he grabbed Gaara's shoulders and pushed him down onto the chair while sitting down in a chair on the opposite side of the table. So, you and my sister, huh? He asked with a smirk. Gaara just nodded. Did you know that I'm protective of my sister? Gaara shook his head. Oh, I am. I'm very protective of her, seeing as she's the only sibling I have. It's the same with my mom. And I hope you understand that I only want what's best for them. I understand that, but... Naruto held up his hand. I know what you might say in a situation like this. But I really love her, my feelings for her are the real deal, or shit like that. And I don't care about that. I don't care if you love her. The point is this, she has feelings for you. And you better make sure that she's always, and I mean always, happy. If you fail to do that, if you hurt her in even the smallest way, I will hurt you. I will hurt you so much, you'll be screaming for the merciful embrace of death, but you're not going to get that. No, 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 no. If you hurt her, I'm going to torture you for a year straight. I'll even heal you and give you a blood transfusion to keep you alive if I must. Are we clear? Gaara just nodded. Crystal. Good, Naruto said with a grin. Then I guess I have no choice but to welcome you to the family. Have a nice day. And with that, he disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Shukaku. Why yeah? I almost pissed my pants. Me too. Big brothers are scary. I know. Wait. Do you wear pants? I meant figuratively. Oh. Katen, Kitsune Enden, Sasuke shouted as he blew a huge, fox-shaped fire blast towards a poor, unsuspecting log, completely incinerating it. Oh, you've learned the first Katen jutsu I've ever created, huh? Came a voice from the bushes. Who's there? Sasuke asked, surprised that he hadn't sensed anyone. He spotted a bucket hat rising from the bushes, followed by a grinning, whiskered face covered by a fan. Ta-da, Naruto said lazily. And Naruto? You're back? Naruto raised his hand and waved in Sasuke's direction. Yo. Hisashiburi de ni, Sasuke. When did you come back? Yesterday, but I couldn't come visit you until now. My fiancés had to give me a warm welcome first, Naruto said, quickly covering his nosebleed with his fan, thinking back on the earlier events. So, anyway. Have you gotten through the jutsu scroll yet? Yeah. And Kakashi-sensei taught me a few techniques as well. He wanted me to copy them, but I stuck to our deal. Good, good, Naruto said with a nod as he flicked the fan shut and put it in his coat pocket. Then, how about a friendly spar? Sounds good to me, Sasuke said with a smirk as Naruto took his coat and his bucket hat off, making Sasuke raise an eyebrow. New tattoos? He asked, gesturing for the toad on Naruto's left arm and the bear on his right. Oh, these? These are summoning tattoos. It's much easier and takes a lot less chakra, otherwise I'd have to use chakra in order to decide what species I wanted to summon. So, ninjutsu? Sasuke asked, getting a nod from Naruto. Ninjutsu. Sasuke quickly flew through a few hand seals before putting his hand to his mouth. Katen, Hausuka no Jutsu. He called and blew 5 small fireballs at Naruto who didn't even move. The fireballs connected, resulting in an explosion. Once the smoke was gone, Sasuke noticed that Naruto was no longer there. Phew-uten, he heard Naruto's calm voice saying from behind him. Turning around, he saw Naruto standing there, holding his hand out towards Sasuke, a small ball of compressed wind in it. Kamaitachi no Jutsu, cutting whirlwind technique. A huge gust of wind flew out of his hand, cutting up the ground as it headed for Sasuke, slicing him into pieces, only for him to be replaced with the log he'd torched before. Sasuke jumped into the air from behind Naruto and went through a couple of hand seals. Katen, Gukakyu no Jutsu. He called out and blew a huge fireball towards Naruto who went through his own seals. Ninpa, Gamma Yudan, Ninja Arts, Toad Oil Projectile. Naruto's cheeks puffed out as he leaned his head back before snapping it forward, a huge torrent of oil bursting from his mouth before he jumped away from the fireball. The oil connected with the fireball, caught on fire and went through it, heading straight towards Sasuke. Shit. Sasuke thought as he used Kawarimi to switch himself with a football-sized rock. Sasuke stood on the ground, watching as the rock disintegrated, and let out a sigh. If that had hit me, I'd be a gunner for sure. You want to continue? Naruto asked, standing behind Sasuke with a smile on his face. Sasuke smirked. I already have, he said and quickly turned around with his hand in the serpent seal. Doten, Doryudan no Jutsu, Earth Element, Earth Dragon Missile Technique. The ground shifted and suddenly, a dragon head burst out of it and opened its mouth. Naruto smirked as he jumped away from the incoming projectiles. My first sensei was the one who invented that technique. I know that it isn't true, but in here, it is. Use a technique I don't know how to counter or dodge. Fine, Sasuke said with a smirk as he formed some more hand seals before putting his hand to his mouth again. Katen, Guryuka no Jutsu, Fire Element, Great Dragon Fire Technique. Out of his mouth came a huge flame in the shape of a head that looked like a mix between the Sanbi's head and a dragon's head. Naruto smirked as he sidestepped the flame. What he didn't count on, however, was that the dragon turned after it passed him and continued heading for him. Nanjato? He shouted as he rolled to the side, feeling the heat coming off the dragon as it passed him yet again. Shit. Naruto rolled back, barely avoiding the dragon as it actually scorched his pants. He went through some hand seals. Ninpa, Ranji Shigumi no Jutsu, ninja arts, wild lion's mane technique. He called. His hair grew at a rapid speed and shot towards Sasuke, the spikes in his hair turning rock solid. Naruto saw that the fire dragon didn't stop its advances, and so did Sasuke with Naruto's hair. Both of them closed their eyes, waiting for the incoming pain. It never came. Opening their eyes, Naruto saw that the dragon just floated in front of Naruto for a few seconds before fading away, while Sasuke saw that Naruto's hair was just an inch away from his face. A draw? Naruto asked as his hair receded, returning to its old length and shape, getting a nod from Sasuke. I can go with that, though I held back in this fight. As did I, Naruto said as he walked over to his coat, picking it up and putting his bucket hat back on his head. A ninja should always have a few tricks up his sleeves, right? Yeah. And you didn't even use your cards here. I felt that it was unnecessary. You didn't use your Sharingan. It wasn't necessary either, Sasuke said with a smirk while Naruto pulled out his fan and flicked it open. Suddenly, they could feel the ground trembling. Looking to the east, they saw Lee running towards them, crying manly tears of joy. Naruto-kun. You're back. You've grown and your hip attitude has reached new levels. I challenge you, my eternal rival. Naruto and Sasuke sweat dropped. Sasuke leaned in to whisper to Naruto. This freak is your rival? Naruto used his fan to cover his mouth as he whispered to Sasuke. He seems strange, but he has a kind soul. It's just a little annoying when he keeps spouting on about youth. Naruto-kun. I said that I challenge you, my eternal rival. Naruto closed his eyes as he remembered something. Flashback. Naruto was walking towards the Namikaze compound, hoping desperately that he wouldn't meet anyone who'd welcome him home at this hour. He sighed when he heard a voice from behind him. Ah, long time no see, Naruto. You look more and more like your father every day. Came Kakashi's overly lazy voice. He looked up from his icha and waved at Naruto. Yo. Yo, Kakashi-san. Listen, I'm tired and I want to sleep, so can we talk tomorrow? Sure. I was just out, patrolling the village. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Ja-ni, Naruto, Kakashi said and turned to leave when Naruto called out to him. Wait, Kakashi-san. You're Guy-sensei's eternal rival, right? Yeah. So, how do you do when you want to piss him off? Oh, I act oblivious. Flashback ends. Act oblivious, huh? Naruto thought as he turned to look at Lee. You say something, Lee? Lee burst into tears. Oh, Naruto-kun. You are truly worthy of being my rival with that annoyingly hip attitude of yours. I will show you that youth can beat hipness any time. It's your pick of challenge. Oh? Naruto asked as he put a hand to his chin. Okay, an easy one. Easy one. Oh, I got it. He thought as he snapped his fingers. Alright. Whoever gets laid first wins. Lee froze. What? You heard me. We're going to go out, find a woman, or two, or three, and fuck them until they can't move. Whoever does it first, wins. Yosh. It's a strange and very unyouthful challenge, Naruto-kun, but I will do it. And if I lose, I'll do 5,000 vertical push-ups with my fingers, and if I cannot do that, I'll carry a boulder around Konoha. And if I cannot do that, I'll wrestle a bear with my hands tied behind my back. Okay, Lee, Naruto said and put away his fan. Let's go, he said and blurred away, as did Lee. That Naruto, Sasuke said with a chuckle. He managed to get Lee off his back and he had an excuse for having sex with his girls. I hate to say it, but I admire him. Naruto got into his house and spotted his fiancées, all sitting in front of the couch, watching TV. He walked inside and picked the three up, Mai on his back and Kurenai and Anko under each arms. We go upstairs now, he said simply as he ran annoyingly fast towards the bedroom. Once they got inside the bedroom, the three women figured out what was going on once Naruto had put them on the floor again. Anko smirked as she pushed Naruto onto the bed, followed by the three women pouncing on him. Author's note: there is a lemon here, I can't post it on YouTube as my channel will be taken down. If you want to read it, link to the story is in the description. If you are a patron, then you can also find the unedited version over there. Thanks to Dusk. R&R. The next day, Naruto stood in front of a jail cell, staring at Lee, who was sitting inside, devastated. Lee. What you did was called sexual harassment, he said while Lee just lowered his head in shame. I was talking about wooing a woman, not trying to kiss the first woman you saw in the middle of the street. You should be glad you weren't charged with attempted rape. I know, Naruto-kun, and I'm sorry. I have failed you as a rival. No, you haven't, Lee, Naruto said with a grin. What you did took guts. And the woman. She was a catch. And I had the upper hand. I already had 3 willing women waiting for me, so I guess that challenge doesn't count. Lee. Came the roaring voice of Mito Guy as he ran inside the prison. My most youthful student. What is this I hear about you doing something very unyouthful with unsuspecting women in the middle of the streets? Naruto covered his ears as Guy ran over to the cell. Guy-sensei. I'm sorry. Naruto-kun challenged me. I misunderstood it, and Naruto-kun, being the hip man he is, has decided to void it. As a way to show my regrets, when I get out of here, I will carry that woman's groceries for her every day for 2 weeks. L. Lee. Oh my. Lee walked up to the bars with tears in his eyes. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. They enveloped each other in a hug through the bars while Naruto just stared, horrified. Now that Lee's older. It's even more disturbing. He thought as he looked up. Anyway, Lee. Once you're out of here, I'll probably have a new challenge for you. Yosh. I will not fail this one, Naruto-kun. In the Hokage's office, Jiraiya was standing in front of Tsunade with his arms crossed and a proud smile on his face. So, what skill level do you think he's at? Tsunade asked, making Jiraiya grin. Between Sanin and Kage. What? How? He's a jutsu sponge, Jiraiya said, that shit-eating grin still on his face. I've taught him everything I taught Minato and everything else I know. His speed is nearly unmatched, but with Hiraishin, it is. His strength is greater than Guy's, he said as he rubbed the back of his head. I would know. Every time I tried to ditch his training for some research, he'd smack me unconscious with a single punch. But did you turn him into a pervert? He was already a pervert. Everyone's a pervert. He just knows how to hide it, Jiraiya said and waved. Well, I'd better get going. There's research to be done. He said and disappeared in a poof of smoke, just in time to avoid the paperweight that came flying out of Tsunade's hand. Well, considering that Naruto has now done 16S rank missions and 34A rank, I think that's enough for a promotion, don't you, Shizune? Tsunade asked, looking at her apprentice with a raised eyebrow. Normally, I'd say that he's not ready, but with 16S rank under his belt, I'm sure he's ready. Naruto-kun. Came Lee's voice from behind Naruto as he walked through Konoha, making said blonde sigh. I'm out of jail and I'm ready for your challenge. Naruto asked as he looked at Lee with a raised eyebrow. Did you say something? Lee cried manly tears, spouting on about Naruto's hipness. Said blonde didn't really pay much attention to him. Flicking his fan shut, Naruto turned to Lee with a grin on his face. We'll have a ramen eating contest. Ramen? Yeah, Naruto said with a nod. Either that or Dengo. Take your pick. We'll go with ramen. And I promise that I will not lose to you, Naruto-kun. If I do, I'll run to Suna and back on my hands, and if I cannot do that, I'll... Enough, Lee. Let's go eat, Naruto said with a sigh as he started walking towards Ichiraku. Chapter 14. The Ichiraku family was happy. Why were they happy? Because Naruto and Lee had suddenly entered the restaurant and ordered a bowl of ramen each, telling the two to keep them coming. They'd also drawn quite a crowd. They were both on their 18th bowl and didn't seem to want to quit any time soon. After the 20th bowl, a huge gathering of people were standing outside the ramen stand, taking bets on who would give up first. Naruto lost. He could have continued, but right in the middle of his 25th bowl, he'd heard giggling coming from outside. He'd turned around and peered through the crowd to see Misao and Gaara walking past the ramen stand. Gaara had his arm wrapped around Misao's waist. Naruto could live with that. He saw red though, when he saw Gaara lean in and kiss his sister on the cheek. He spit out his ramen, paid for it and unsealed his bow staff. You bastard! Unhand my sister, he roared as he ran out of the ramen stand, swinging his staff around wildly. Gaara turned and spotted Naruto. A robotic voice sounded in his head. Hand around Threat's sister. Threat swings a metal staff. Threat has slitted red eyes that are burning with rage. Processing new information. Best possible way to defuse situation. Run. Gaara quickly let go of Misao and took off like a bat out of hell. Naruto growled as he ran past Misao. Kushina walked up to her, popping out from an alley. My father reacted like that when Minato and I were dating, she said and sighed with a smile. This is so nostalgic. Father chased Minato up our flagpole and then sat down, waiting for 5 hours for Minato to come down and face him like a man. But why does he act like that? Misao asked as she saw Naruto bat Kiba into a wall for standing in his way. You'd think he's jealous or something, she said before her eyes widened. You don't think he's into incest, do you? Kushina stared at Misao incredulously. What? No. You just don't understand men, Misao. I actually think it would have been better if you'd met Naruto after you lost your virginity. What? Why? Because, right now, Naruto thinks of you as his sweet, innocent little sister, Kushina said with a smile. It's hard to understand men. Just like it's hard for men to understand women, but I do know that as long as he can, he's going to be your living, breathing chastity belt, she said and grinned when she heard Misao sigh in annoyance. Come on. Let's go home. Let them run until they're tired. Namikaze compound. Come down from there, Gaara. I'm not gonna hurt you, Naruto shouted, sitting under a flagpole, on top of which, Gaara was located. This is quite the predicament I've gotten myself into. I could try to use my sand, but he'd either beat me up, or Misao would. Or both. Shukaku? You got any ideas? Nope. Damn. Aniki. What are you doing? Misao shouted as she and Kushina got back, only to see Naruto sharpening a kunai. Me? I'm just playing a game of tag with Gaara, Naruto said with a sweet smile on his face. Help. Me. Gaara pleaded from his spot on top of the flagpole. Now, Gaara-kun. You're acting a lot less like a man than I thought you would, Kushina said as she stared up at the redhead. Yeah, but you haven't been beaten by his drunken bear before. You try getting knocked out cold by a giant barstool and then not cower like I am, Gaara said with a groan, his pride severely damaged from his girlfriend seeing him in the position he was in. Aniki, Misao shouted, glaring at Naruto. You better let him down right now. Or? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. Or I'll tell Lee that you want to challenge him, Misao said with a smirk. Naruto ran home quicker than any of them could follow. The next day, Naruto sat on a bench at Namikaze Training Ground 3, just minding his own business while supervising Misao's training, when Tsunade suddenly sat down next to him. Ah, Ohio, Ba-chan, he exclaimed when he saw the blonde Hokage. I'm surprised you have enough free time to get out of the office. When it comes to visiting my family, I do. Now, Naruto. I have a proposition for you, Tsunade said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Proposition? Yes. Jiraiya has been thinking about retiring and focus all of his time on writing, and we need someone to take up his spy network. If you do that, you'll be able to take over his position as the Toad Sannin, Tsunade said, causing Naruto's eyes to widen. What? Tsunade nodded. Yes. We need a new generation of Sannins. Those Sannins will be you, Shizune and Anko, seeing as they are currently the holders of the contracts. If you do take up the mantle of Sannin, you will immediately be promoted to Jounin and, on the battlefield, you'll be the commander, outranked only by me. That's a big responsibility, Naruto said with a hand on his chin. I'll do it. Great, then I'll just Tsunade started, only to be interrupted by Naruto, who held up his hand. But not yet. What? I want to go to Mount Mayuboku and train with the Toads first, Naruto said as he got up. That's something I have to do. I won't take on the title of Sannin until I have proudly earned my Sennin headband. By Sennin headband, he was referring to the oil headband Jiraiya had received when he finished his studies in Mount Mayuboku. Uro Ojiji said that I'll have to find it myself if I want training in the Senpu, hermit arts. So, with your permission, I wish to head out as soon as possible. Tsunade got up with a smile. Leave when you're ready, Naruto, but hurry up. I feel like something bad is going to happen soon. So do I, Naruto said as he gave Tsunade a hug before walking over to Misao. Emotu. Misao stopped meditating and looked up at her brother. What the matter, Aniki? I have to leave again, Naruto said, making Misao's eyes widen. What? But you just got back. I know, but I have more training to do. If you want more training, ask Uroojiji to supervise it, Naruto said and walked off. He walked through the compound until he got to his house. Ladies, he shouted. Seeing that no one was home, he just wrote a quick note before heading off. -3 weeks later. This is useless. Naruto thought as walked through the forest on the outskirts of Kami knows where. Naruto had been wandering around for 3 weeks and he was completely lost. He had run out of supplies and he was exhausted. I can't take any more. He thought as he collapsed, his vision fading. -12 hours later. Naruto woke up to the sound of a cricket chirping. He opened his eyes to find that he was laying in the exact same spot as before, only it was night time now. Suddenly, a splat sound was heard, followed by the immediate cease of cricket chirping. I guess there's a hungry toad somewhere around here. He thought and was about to close his eyes, before they widened. T-toad. He shouted in his mind and started crawling in the direction of the sound. He looked over a bush to see a plain toad croaking at him. The strange thing was that the toad was black and slightly larger than your average toad. Hey, are you from Mount Mayuboku? Naruto asked with hope in his voice. The toad just croaked, making Naruto sigh. Of course not. The toad jumped up to Naruto and turned his head to the right, before hopping in that direction. Naruto, having nothing better to do, followed it. -15 minutes later. Are you just pulling my leg or something? Naruto asked as he crawled through a thick bush. Suddenly, he noticed that it was daytime. What the hell? He asked out loud and looked up to see a huge mountain. Mount Mayuboku. He noticed something that made him sigh. The way up was a long road that spiraled up the mountain. Crap. After a long and gruesome walk, Naruto finally got to the top of the mountain, only to collapse from exhaustion. An old, cloak-wearing toad with bushy, gray eyebrows and a beard hopped up to him. Oh? A youngster, huh? Let me see here, he said and held up Naruto's head so he could get a good look at his face. So, this is Jiraiya-chan's grandson, huh? Ma. Another old, cloak-wearing toad, this one a female, wearing some kind of black hat, jumped up to him. What's the matter, Pa? Oh, a youngster. How nice, she exclaimed as she looked Naruto over. He's cute too. It's Jiraiya-chan's grandson, Ma, Pa said with a smile, making Ma's eyes widen. Oh, a senju comes to us, huh? Well, I guess we should take him home and let him rest. Gamakichi, she shouted. What? Came a voice from behind the bushes. One of your friends is here to see you, but he's exhausted and we need to take him home. Gamakichi, a lot bigger than 2 years ago, hopped into view to see the blonde. Oh, Naruto? He's come here for training? Wait until Dad hears about this, he exclaimed and picked up Naruto, before putting the blonde on his head. The next day, Naruto woke up, surprised to find himself in a bed. Good morning, Naruto-chan, said an elderly voice. Naruto turned to see an old toad with big, gray eyebrows, a beard and a small patch of hair on his head smiling at him. The toad turned to the doorway. Ma. He's awake. Coming. Come, an elderly female's voice. How do you know my name? Naruto asked as he sat up. The toad smiled. Jiraiya-chan, Gamakichi and Gamabunda has told us everything about you, Naruto-chan. I am Fukasaku. And I'm Shima. A female toad said as she entered the room with a steaming bowl of soup in her hands. Eat up. You must be hungry. Naruto grabbed the bowl and noticed that the food consisted of insects. Shrugging, he started eating. He was really hungry. Once he'd gotten over the fact that he was eating insects, he noticed that it was actually really good. He finished his soup and placed the bowl on the nightstand next to the bed. Ah, that was really good. Thank you, Shima-sama, he said with a bow, making the old toad laugh. Now, Naruto-chan. There's no need to bow to us, she said, getting a nod from Naruto. You are the Toad Elders, right? He asked, and at their nods, he continued. Well, I came here for training in the hermit arts, and I'd be really grateful if you took me as your student. Fukasaku chuckled. Well, you did eat Ma's food, even though it wasn't really human food, and we already knew you'd come here sooner or later. Do you think you're ready for our training? It'll be hard. I'm ready, Naruto said with a nod. Good, Fukasaku said with a nod. Then we'll take you to the Elder Toad. He's the one who has to approve of you. Naruto nodded and got up, hitting his head in the low ceiling. Yeah, sorry. I kinda forgot to tell you that, Fukasaku said with a sweat drop forming on his head when he saw Naruto writhing on the ground. Is it me, or does hitting your head like that hurt more than getting punched in the face? At the Toad Temple. Naruto was on his knees in front of a huge toad that looked just about to fall over and die. He was wrinkly and wore a pearl necklace with the kanji for oil on it. Oh, so this is young Naruto, huh? He asked with a smile. I've heard so much about him. Gamakichi-chan speaks so highly of him. When is he coming to meet us? Naruto-chan is here right now, Elder Toad, Fukasaku said tiredly, sitting on the Elder Toad's right side. Oh, that was quick. The Elder Toad said, making Fukasaku, Shima and Naruto sweat drop. So, this is the one you want to train? Yes, it is, Elder, Shima said with a nod. Do we have your permission? Of course, of course. It's not any of my business who you want to train. The Elder said, making Shima sigh. Yes, it is, Elder. Oh, right. The Elder said, nodding to himself. Well, you have my permission anyway. Now, when is the young Naruto coming here? He's right here, Elder. You've already given us permission to teach him. Fukasaku growled with a vein pumping in his forehead. Oh, right, right. Well, dismissed. I must await young Naruto. Naruto was just about to open his mouth, when Fukasaku jumped down next to him. Don't even bother, Naruto-chan. When he's like this, he'll never stop. Naruto just nodded as he followed Fukasaku outside. Soon enough, they were sitting in front of a waterfall that consisted of oil. Naruto had decided not to wear his coat for now. Now, Naruto. We searched your belongings when you were asleep, and judging by the sake, the playing cards and the panties we found sealed inside your scrolls, you practically worship the 3 taboos of a ninja. Naruto had the decency to blush. But you're not allowed to do any of the 3 while training under me, understood? Of course, Naruto said with a nod. Good. Now, what do you know about nature chakra? Fukasaku asked, raising one of his mega eyebrows. Naruto put a hand on his chin. Well, Uro Ojiji told me that, in order to use Senjutsus, you need to be able to harness it. He wouldn't tell me how to do it, since that's your job. Basically, it's the exact opposite of regular chakra, right? Correct, Fukasaku said with a nod. Nature chakra is just that. Nature's chakra. Now, being of the Senju clan, I think you might have an easier time harnessing it. How good is your chakra control, Naruto? Excellent, Naruto said, making Fukasaku smile. Good. Then I don't think you have to use the same training method Jiraiya-chan had to use when he first started, Fukasaku said and gestured for the waterfall. This is toad oil. It's a natural. Let's call it magnet to nature chakra. It's a good way to start training, but if you have excellent chakra control, you should be able to gather it on your own. But how do you gather it? You have to be perfectly in tune with nature and be completely still. In order to make sure of that, we will train over there, Fukasaku said and pointed at a pair of tall stalagmites about 100 yards away. Follow me. -15 minutes later. This is a lot harder than I thought. Naruto muttered as he sat on a flat stone that was balancing on one of the stalagmites. Next to him, Fukasaku was sitting on the same kind of stone on his own stalagmite. Calm down, Naruto-chan. Just close your eyes and relax. Naruto did as he was told and soon enough, without that much concentration, he managed to balance on the stalagmite. Now you're ready to collect the nature chakra, Fukasaku said with a proud smile. It had taken Jiraiya a lot longer to even balance on the stalagmite. Just feel it around you. You can, can't you? I think so, Naruto said as he concentrated, feeling some kind of energy moving in the air, though he couldn't really recognize it as chakra. Good. Gather the energy in your hands and contain it. Naruto nodded and did what he was told. The chakra was hard to contain, though. When Naruto opened his eyes, he found that his hands had transformed into toad hands. Ah! What the hell? He shouted, only to get smacked in the back of the head, courtesy of Fukasaku's stick. I wondered why he brought that thing up here. He suddenly found that he lost balance and fell off the stalagmite, hitting the ground with a crunching sound. Fukasaku winced as he heard the sound and looked down. Naruto-chan. I don't think your arm is supposed to bend that way. You think? The next evening. Naruto sat in Fukasaku's house, eating Shima's food with great enthusiasm. It's so nice to have someone eat my food like that, Shima said with a smile. Just let me know if you want seconds. Naruto, Unable to speak because he was busy stuffing his mouth with food, just waved his hand, gesturing for more. Coming right up. Naruto-chan, Fukasaku said as he looked at Naruto while sipping his tea. Now that you have the control that you do, you should be able to enter Senin Mudo, hermit mode. We will get to that tomorrow. Entering Senin Mudo will enhance your strength, speed and agility, as well as greatly boosting the strength in your legs. Once you enter Senin Mudo, I will teach you Gamma Fu and Senjutsus. Eat up and rest. I need you to be at your best tomorrow. In Konoha. Anko, Kurenai, Mai, Gaara, Misao and Kushina were sitting at the dinner table in Naruto's house. I miss Naruto-kun. Anko complained with a pout. It's so boring around here without him. Why did Jiraiya-sama have to retire from his Sannin duties? Because he's getting old and wants to write that perverted crap he calls literature, Kushina said, making Naruto's wives blush. Now, Anko said with a slight grin. We have actually learned a lot from those books. What could you possibly have leer? Kushina started, but stopped when she saw the blushes on the three's faces. Oh. By the way, Misao, Anko said as she turned to the girl. You should go ahead and lose your virginity now when Naruto-kun is gone, she said, making Misao blush furiously. Hey Anko-san. Gaara just sat there, listening to Shukaku's ranting. Come on, brat. This is the perfect chance to score. The goal is wide open. This is not a game, and Misao is certainly not a goal. Gaara shouted in his mind while Kushina put a hand on his chin. Actually, this would be a good opportunity for you too. Mom. The next day, Mount Mayuboku. Are you ready for this, Naruto-chan? Fukasaku asked, getting a nod from Naruto, who stood in front of him, his eyes turned into the same kind of eyes the toads had. He's reached further than anyone ever has in the hermit arts. I'm ready, Fukasaku-sensei. Good. We'll start with some jumping to get used to the ability boosts, Fukasaku said and jumped high up into the air, landing on top of one of the many toad statues in the clearing. Naruto braced himself before hopping after the toad, but used way too much force in it, resulting in him flying over the statue and landing on the other side. Try again. Fukasaku ordered. Naruto nodded and jumped again, only this time, he didn't jump high enough. Again. The day progressed like that. Naruto got better and better at toad hopping. This is good, Naruto-chan, Fukasaku shouted as he bounced off another statue with Naruto following. You're making incredible progress. Thanks, Fukasaku-sensei, Naruto exclaimed as he flipped in the air to make sure his landing was perfect. I can feel myself making progress. Now, let's start training Gamma Fu. Yes, sensei. Chapter 15. Naruto took a sip from his tea with a sigh while rubbing his shoulder. His hair had been bleached and his skin had been deeply tanned from prolonged exposure to the sun. It was always daytime there and hot as hell. Really, Fukasaku-sensei? Even though you're small, getting kicked by you still feels like slamming into a brick wall. Fukasaku chuckled. You flatter me, Naruto-chan, he said and held up a finger. Still, nature chakra has been mastered better than any other human ever. Gamma Fu and Senin Mudo have been mastered to a certain point. Now, there's one last thing to say. I'm listening. It's about the risks and dangers of Senin Mudo, Fukasaku said, getting a raised eyebrow from Naruto. Risks? It's like this, only when you can handle well the risks and dangers of Senin Mudo will you be able to maximize how you use Senin Mudo. And the risk is? The first thing is something I think even little Naruto-chan can understand, Fukasaku said, making Naruto's eye twitch. Are you calling me slow? Kinda, Fukasaku said with a shrug. Senin Mudo cannot be maintained for long periods of time. Probably can be held for 5 minutes. And then, in order to activate Senin Mudo, one has to collect nature chakra by being still. This is fundamental. Which means that you can't use it the moment combat begins. If you can't move, you'll become the enemy's target. To enter Senin Mudo requires having lots of companions at your side to give you free time. No matter what, you can't enter Senin Mudo while you're alone. The only thing to do then is leave combat for now and collect nature chakra. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Doesn't that mean that it's not usable? What the point of a combat mode if you can't use it? Don't be so discouraged. Am I not here to deal with the risk? Fukasaku asked as he raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? If I merge my body with Naruto-chan's, it'll be okay. Merge? Naruto asked as an image appeared in his mind. An image of him crouched down, sporting a long tongue, Fukasaku's eyes and eyebrows, along with toed hands. He leaned away from Fukasaku. No, thanks. Fukasaku chuckled again. Even though it's called merging, in reality, it's just pressing together shoulder and spinal cord. So, Naruto said as he looked at his shoulder. I will look the same as in Senin Mudo, only I will have you on my shoulder like a parrot? Correct. But why is it okay after you merge? To put it simply, it's to handle the tasks of still and action separately. Fukasaku explained as he held up one hand at still and another at action, holding them a good distance away from each other. When one side is moving, the other side stops drawing Naruto chakra. Jiraiya-chan also requires us couple to merge with him in order to appear in the final Senin Mudo. I see, Naruto said as he put a hand on his chin. But wouldn't that mean that Uro Ojiji and I can't enter it at the same time? That's why, if you both need it, only you will enter it. How come? Because you have reached further than Jiraiya-chan in this training. You will be able to perform jutsus better as well. Just because Jiraiya-chan has more experience, doesn't mean that he's better at it, Fukasaku said and held up his hand in a high-five fashion. Now, let's train, Naruto-chan. Naruto grinned and high-fived Fukasaku. Let's. -3 days later, Konoha. An explosion rocked Konoha to the core. In the middle of it stood a man with spiky, orange hair, lots of piercings and eyes with several rings around them. He wore a black cloak with red clouds on them. It's Akatsuki. A jounin shouted as he ran off to warn Tsunade. Kushina and Misao were in the market district when the panic started. What's going on? Kushina asked as she stopped a chunin who was heading towards the explosion. It's Akatsuki. They're attacking. The chunin shouted as he ran off. Go find shelter. Akatsuki? Misao asked and looked at her mom. Who are they? Kushina was wide-eyed. They're after Naruto, she said and turned to her daughter. Misao, go home. Warn the others. But where are you going? I'm gonna see if I can help, Kushina said and ran off. With Jiraiya. Jiraiya summoned a small, black toad. It looked at him with a grin. Yo, Jiraiya. What's up? I need you to go back and tell Naruto to get here ASAP, Jiraiya said and pointed into the distance where Pain was killing any ninja that was getting in his way. Got it. The toad said before disappeared with a poof. Jiraiya sighed as he stood up and jumped off towards Pain. With Pain. Pain lifted a semi-unconscious jounin and held him up to his face. Where is the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? The jounin, who was one of the people who saw Naruto for who he was, grinned. He's gone to visit your mom. He said she might be feeling a little lonely. Pain was not amused. He held up his arm, and a black spike protruded from his sleeve. That was a poor joke to make on your deathbed, he said and was about to stab the jounin, when his spike was grabbed by a gloved hand. My, Kakashi said, his Sharingan visible. It seems we have an intruder, wouldn't you say so, Sasuke? HN. Came Sasuke's voice from behind Pain. Sasuke was currently holding his newly completed Chidori Isu, Thousand Birds sharp spear, at Pain's neck. You would do best to leave now, Gaara said as he appeared next to Pain, his sand ready to encase him. Pain just looked at Gaara, not a single emotion apparent on his face. The Ichibi Jinchuriki. So this is where you were hiding. You will come with me as well. I don't think so, Gaara said simply and was just about to use his Sabaku Q, Desert Coffin, when Pain's eyes widened a fraction, sending out a huge shockwave that sent Gaara, the sand, Sasuke, Kakashi and the jounin flying. What the hell? Sasuke shouted in his mind. I couldn't even see what he did with my Sharingan. He thought as he landed. Could it have something to do with those eyes of his? Judging by the looks of it, Kakashi and Gaara had come to the same conclusion. Chitaki-san, Kakashi said as he looked at the wounded jounin who just got up. You're wounded. You should evacuate and get healed up. Are you sure you can handle this guy, Kakashi-san? Chitaki asked, getting a nod from Kakashi. Yeah, and even if we can't, reinforcements are coming. Just as he said that, Jiraiya arrived at the scene. Those eyes, he said as he stared at Pain's eyes. Could it be Nagato, but you look like Yahiko. It's been a while, Jiraiya-sensei, Pain said calmly. And Yahiko is long since dead. As if fighting Uchiha Sasuke, Hatake Kakashi and Sabaku no Gaara isn't enough. Mount Mayuboku. Oh, Naruto-chan, Shima said with a devastated expression on her face as she handed over Naruto's coat. It was ripped and tattered. I'm sorry, But when I went down to the river to clean it, a fish attacked and missed me. My coat, Naruto said with an equally devastated look on his own face. What now? Your pants aren't in such good condition either, Fukasaku said simply as he tugged on Naruto's pants. What now? This is good, Fukasaku exclaimed with a grin as he hopped off. I actually wanted a reason for you to change your clothes. The toads have made some new clothes for you. Shortly after, Fukasaku came out of the back room with a package in his hands. Here you go, Naruto-chan. Naruto opened up the package, and his eyes widened. I can't give a good description of Naruto's clothes, so just click the link on my profile. Attached to the right sleeve of the coat was a horn plate with the kanji for oil on it. You have gotten further in your training than any human ever has, Naruto-chan, Fukasaku said with a smile. You deserve that. Congratulations, Naruto-chan, Shima exclaimed with a huge smile on her wrinkled face. You guys, Naruto said as he felt the smooth material of the coat. Naruto. Came a loud voice as a black toad hopped into the hut. Oh, Kurogama-chan? Shima asked curiously. What are you doing here? Come to freeload again? No, Kurogama said, shaking his head before turning to Naruto. Big trouble, boss. Big trouble. What's the matter? Naruto asked as he put on his new pants, tying it with the orange sash. After that, he attached a pouch to his right hip and hung a sake bottle from his left hip. Akatsuki, Kurogama exclaimed, making the three's eyes widen. Akatsuki is attacking Konoha. Jiraiya tells you to get your ass over there as fast as you can. Naruto, Fukasaku said, turning to the blonde who had just put on his new coat in a hurry. Let's fuse. That way, we'll get to Konoha as fast as humanly possible. Alright, Naruto exclaimed and bit his thumbs before swiping some blood under his eyes and putting his hands in a tiger seal. I'm going too, Shima said, getting a nod from Fukasaku. Naruto's eyes changed to look like Gamabuntas, and Fukasaku and Shima disappeared with a poof, only to reappear on Naruto's shoulders. Well, what do you know, Shima said as she looked down. Our cloaks changed to fit the color of our summoner's clothes. Interesting, Fukasaku said with a nod. Well, let's go, Naruto exclaimed as he ran out of the hut. Fukasaku-sensei, do you know the way to Konoha from here? Of course, you run, I'll handle the directions, Fukasaku said with a nod, before laughing. Kinda like still in action. Konoha. You can't be Yahiko, Jiraiya said calmly. Those eyes belong to Nagato. Correct, sensei. Then, if you're alive, that would mean that Konan must still be alive, right? Just as he said that, there was a swirl behind him, and a blue-haired woman with a paper flower in her hair materialized behind Jiraiya in a swirl of paper. Hello, sensei. You should just come willingly, Jiraiya said with a smirk. You're outnumbered. Are we? Pain asked as he pressed his hand against the ground. In a poof of smoke, 5 others appeared. All of them wore an Akatsuki cloak and had piercings and Rinnegan eyes. What the hell? Jiraiya asked with wide eyes. No matter what you people try, you're still just normal people, sensei, Pain said calmly. But, I living in the center of an infinite universe of pain, have grown into something more. What? That's right. I've grown from a normal person into a god, Pain said, making Jiraiya raise an eyebrow. As a god, what I say and what I think becomes the law of a god. Sensei, you're still just a person. I don't expect you to understand what I'm telling you. Keep him talking. Just long enough for Naruto to arrive. Jiraiya thought. I can't believe you're the same child I met. Things I couldn't comprehend as a human are crystal clear now that I'm a god. And by the same token, I've noticed there are things I can do as a god that I could never dream of doing as a human, Pain said and gestured for the other Pains. I have simply evolved. What are you trying to accomplish? Jiraiya asked, narrowing his eyes. Pain closed his eyes in a contemplating manner, as if he was not sure if he needed to tell Jiraiya this. Then he opened them again. I'm going to put an end to this pathetic world and its endless wars, he said, making everyone's eyes widen. It will be an act of God. Then to what end are you chasing the tailed beasts? I suppose since you're going to die, I can tell you my plans, Pain said. Using the tailed beasts, I will create a new kinjutsu. A technique that will eradicate an entire country in less than a second. It will be the ultimate technique. A weapon of unprecedented power and scale. Jiraiya snapped. How could you even think something like that will stop wars? You'll only make them bigger. When countries quarrel with one another, what is the quickest way to end the dispute, sensei? Stop avoiding the question. Answer me, damn it. I will give my ultimate weapon to the warring nations, Pain said, still as calm as ever. People who have a weapon will inevitably use it. What are you getting at? Jiraiya asked, narrowing his eyes to thin slits. Hundreds of millions of people would be killed instantly. And the survivors would be completely terrified, Pain exclaimed, a hint of excitement in his voice. All people. All the world. Will learn what true pain really is. My technique will breed fear and serve as a deterrent, and the wars will quickly cease. One could say this world of ours is still growing, slowly becoming more balanced. Pain will quicken the world's growth, as it did mine. Our world is still in its infancy. But the hand of God has come to guide it down the path to maturity. You want to teach the world what pain is, to help it grow up faster. And you think that's your responsibility? Sasuke roared, quickly becoming more and more angered by this guy's god complex. I do. I am a god of peace, after all. You've turned into quite the comedian, Nagato, Jiraiya said with a smirk. Enough talk, Pain said as he took a step forward. Konan, stay out of this. Hi, Konan said and broke down into small pieces of paper. What's the situation, Jiraiya? The Sandaime, dressed in his battle suit, landed next to Jiraiya, Enma already summoned. It's Nagato, sensei, Jiraiya said. The Rinnegan child from Ame. The Rinnegan, Sarutobi murmured as he stared into Pain's eyes. We need to keep him busy until Naruto arrives. That was my plan. I'm here to help, Kushina said as she too landed next to them. Kushina? What are you doing here? Sarutobi asked with wide eyes. Shouldn't you be with me, Sao? She's gone home, Kushina said calmly. Pain looked them over. Uchiha Sasuke, Sabaku no Gara, Hatake Kakashi, Jiraiya sensei, Konoha's Scarlet Rose and the god of Shinobi, he murmured as he took another step forward. This will truly be an epic battle. With Naruto. This is strange, Fukasaku said as he looked over the village of Ame. What's wrong? Naruto asked. This rain. It's chakra-based. But no mere shinobi can create a rain of this size. But that's not the problem at hand, now is it? Think about it, Naruto-chan, Shima said as she patted Naruto's head. There's hundreds of skilled ninjas in Konoha. I think they can hold their grounds against Akatsuki. You may be right, Shima Oba-san, Naruto said with a smile and looked at Fukasaku. So? We'll investigate? Yup. Fine with me, Naruto said and took off towards the village. Konoha. Pain was just about to charge, when every single one of his bodies perked up. Konan. Hi? Konan asked as she materialized behind him. Someone has disturbed my reign in Ame. Find the intruder. Right away, Konan said and disappeared. Ame. Naruto was crouching on top of a building, gazing over the city. He'd searched everywhere for the source of the rain, except for in the Amikage Tower. The tower would be a good place to look, Fukasaku murmured. Yeah, but if we're caught, we'll be in deep shit and Ame could take it as an act of war. But you're soon the new Toad Sanin, Naruto-chan, Shima said with a smile as she slapped Naruto on the back of his head. It's your job to find out what's going on in the other villages, being in charge of the spy network and all. True, but I don't think we could do anything too risky, Naruto said, before snapping his fingers with a grin. I got it, he exclaimed and jumped off. Konoha. Shiradu Pain, strangely enough, launched it like a rocket towards the ninjas while the other Pains took off. He's coming, Sarutobi exclaimed and raised Enma to block the fist. The force of it knocked him back a few steps. He may be the god of shinobi, but he's still 74 years old, he was 69 when Naruto was 12, so don't start telling me how old he is. Sasuke reacted quickly, igniting his Chidori Isu in both hands, he sent one of them to cut the hand in half while twisting around to slice at the incoming Ningindu Pain. Ningindu Pain ducked under the swipe and tried to uppercut Sasuke, who backflipped away while deactivating the Isis. With Kushina. Suten, Suishuoha no Jutsu, Water Element, Great Water Wave Technique. Kushina called out after forming a chain of hand seals. Water materialized out of nowhere and formed a huge wave that descended upon Tendu Pain, who just stared at the wave, before sending out another shockwave, knocking the water away. He came at Kushina with a backspin kick. Kushina blocked it and grabbed his leg. The ability to create water out of the moisture in the air. An ability that has not been seen since the Naidime Hokage. You sure live up to your position as a former Uzu shinobi, Pain said, getting a smile from Kushina. Thank you, she said and tried to punch Pain in the face, only to get knocked away by another shockwave. Sadly, it will not be enough, Pain said as he started walking towards Kushina. So, you are the mother of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki? I am, Kushina said with a smirk and tossed a kunai towards Pain. Ninpa, kunai kage bunshine, need I translate? The kunai became hundreds of kunai as they flew towards Pain, who just sent out another shockwave, deflecting them all. He didn't count on Kushina suddenly appearing behind him. Konoha senpu, she shouted and kicked Pain in the temple, sending him flying into a building. So, I was right. She thought as she landed. He can't use the shockwave at a rapid rate. There should rather be two people fighting this guy. With Gaara. Gaara was struggling. He was not really that quick, but his automatic defense took care of any blows he couldn't keep up with. The problem was getting his hands on the Chaikuzaudu Pain, who was just dancing around him, dodging every single one of his attacks. It's too bad that I can't use my powers here, Pain said as he dodged out of the way from another tendril of sand. If I do, I will most likely crush my other bodies. Too bad for you, Gaara said calmly as his sand formed a dome around him. Good for me. You make sure I can't see what you're doing, Pain murmured as he stared at the dome. But you can't see what I'm doing either. Suddenly, the ground cracked, and Gaara, his gourd gone, flew out of it, landing an uppercut on Pain's jaw, sending him flying back. I can't? He asked with a smirk as the sand dome collapsed and brought the gourd back to him. There's more to me than just sand. I can see that. But no matter, you are still just a mortal, Pain said as he got up. I underestimated you. It will not happen again. We'll see. With Sasuke. What the hell? He roared as Ningindu Pain ducked under his spin kick. Why can't you just let me hit you? That would remove the meaning of the word fight, wouldn't it? Pain asked calmly as he reached out, grabbing Sasuke's head. He pulled him forward and kneed him in the stomach, before elbowing him in the neck, sending Sasuke slamming into the ground. Damn it. Sasuke muttered as he reached for his sword that was laying on the ground in front of him. Just as he was about to grab it, a black spike pierced his hand. Now. We can't have you using that. You might cut my clothes apart with it, Pain said calmly as another spike protruded from his sleeve. He raised it and looked at Sasuke with bored eyes. Die, he said, making Sasuke's eyes widen. Before he managed to stab Sasuke, however, the Gakidu Pain slammed into him, sending them both flying into a building, turning it to rubble. Jiraiya walked up to Sasuke and looked down at him while pulling out the spike. Stay sharp, kid. We can't have you dying, he said as he pulled Sasuke to his feet. This guy's not human, Sasuke said as he ripped a piece of his shirt off, wrapping it around the wound on his hand. How are the others doing? I don't know. We split up. It'd most likely be dangerous to fight all 6 of them at once, Jiraiya said as he got into a stance. Get ready. The two Pain stepped out of the rubble. Ningindu Pain nodded to Jiraiya. Very good. With Kakashi. Kakashi was staring at the Pain in front of him. This guy is strong. He concluded and reached into his pouch. Time to try to settle this peacefully. He smiled and pulled out his Icha tactics. Yo. We don't really need to fight. How about we just sit down in peace and read a little Icha? A kunai was flung at the book with such force that his was ripped in half. Maybe not, Kakashi said and threw the book away. I'm gonna have to ask Jiraiya for a new one later. All I have to do is stall him long enough for Naruto to arrive. He thought and activated his Reikiri. Ame. The two Pain supporters Ryusui and Yuudachi entered a bar that had free drinks for Pain supporters night. Behind the counter was an elderly man with long, blonde, spiky hair and a thick beard. Welcome, he said with a smile. Judging by those headbands, you're supporters of Pain-sama. That's right, Ryusei said with a nod, making the man's smile widen. Good. Outside, if anyone would have looked, the bar transformed into a small toad. Inside. Now. Naruto, back in his old form, with Fukasaku and Shima on his shoulders, though he wasn't in his Senin Mudo, said as he stared at the two ninjas, who were currently stuck to the walls. What can you tell me about this weather? What? Ryusui asked with a raised eyebrow. It's raining. I know that, Naruto said with a nod. But who keeps it up? Where the hell are we? Yuudachi asked as he looked around. Inside the belly of my toad, Naruto said, making Ryusui's eyes widen. Toad. Are you? That Sanin? Naruto chuckled. Well, I haven't taken up the title from Mount Grandfather yet, but I'll do it as soon as I get back to Konoha. I just decided to make a quick stop here first. Now, who keeps this rain up? Why should we tell you? Ryusui asked smugly, making Naruto grin. Because if you don't, I'll turn you into a frog, he said simply. It doesn't matter what you do. We're shinobi. We'll never betray our comrades, Ryusui shouted, getting a sigh from Naruto. Well, I guess I have no choice then, he said and formed a hand seal, before putting his hand against Uedachi's forehead, pumping nature chakra into his body. Ninpa, Karu no Jutsu, ninja arts, frog conversion technique. There was an explosion of smoke, and when it cleared, Ryusui could see a frog in Uedachi's place. Naruto turned to Ryusui with the grin still on his face. Now, you wanna talk? Pain-sama. Pain-sama is the one who creates the rain, Ryusui said quickly, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Pain. I've heard that name before. Jiraiya told me something about a guy named Pain, too, Fukasaku said with a nod. I think he's the... Yes. He's the leader of Akatsuki. Is that so? Naruto asked and turned to Ryusui again. Where can I find Pain? Like I'd tell you. Pain-sama is a god. There's no way you can beat him. He even killed Hanzo. Hanzo the salamander, huh? Naruto asked, grinning widely. Then I'd really like to meet him. Where can I find him? Talk or I'll turn you into a frog. Ryusui sighed. He's in the tallest of the West Towers, or so they say. You betrayed your comrades pretty quick there, Sonny, Shima exclaimed with a grin, making Ryusui blush. I guess I don't really need you anymore, Naruto said as he formed the same hand seal. I hope you'll live happily on Mount Mayuboku, he said and turned Ryusui into a frog as well. Outside. The toad came out of a puddle in the west area of Ame and opened its mouth. Naruto came out, together with Fukasaku and Shima. He turned to the toad. Go back to Mount Mayuboku. Let the two out there. The toad nodded before puffing away. Naruto stared up at the tower in front of him. So, this is where you're hiding? He asked out loud, before walking inside. Suddenly, Fukasaku and Shima felt a tug in the back of their heads. Naruto-chan, we'll be leaving you for a while, Fukasaku said, patting Naruto on the head. Jiraiya is entering Sennin Mudo. Alright. Make sure the old pervert doesn't die. Sure thing, Shima said with a grin, before puffing away. Konoha. Everyone were panting, except for Jiraiya, who just entered Sennin Mudo, and the six pains. Yo, Jiraiya-chan, Fukasaku exclaimed with a grin as he appeared on Jiraiya's shoulder together with Shima. It's been a while, Ma Pennsylvania, Jiraiya said with a smile. How's Naruto doing? He's just about ready to come here, Fukasaku said as he patted Jiraiya on the head, just like he did to Naruto. He's progressed further than you ever could, Jiraiya-chan. He only needs one of us to enter Sennin Mudo. He'll be here shortly. He's in Ame right now to investigate on some guy named Pain. The six Pains' faces showed immense surprise. These guys are Pain Pennsylvania, Jiraiya said and gestured for the Akatsuki members. If these guys are the ones called Pain, then who is it that's keeping up the rain in Ame? Fukasaku said as he studied the faces of his opponents. They all looked like they were afraid to reveal something. Tendu Pain turned to the others. We're heading back right now. Jiraiya-chan. Don't let them get away. Naruto-chan seems to be on to something, Shima shouted, and Jiraiya nodded, before jumping in front of the Pains that had just turned around. Come on, guys, let's buy Naruto some time, Jiraiya shouted, and the others nodded before once again, with renewed vigor, jumping in front of the Pains. But you need to watch out, Jiraiya-chan, Fukasaku said. We just found out that this guy managed to kill Hanzo, he said, making Jiraiya's eyes widen. Hanzo? Salamander Hanzo? The very same. I already knew he was dangerous, but I never knew he was that dangerous, Jiraiya said as he crouched down. And now that you're here, maybe we can find out the secret behind Pain's eyes, he said. Do you people honestly believe that you'll be able to get out of this alive? Tendu Pain asked with a raised eyebrow. No, we don't, Sarutobi said as he charged. We already know that this is a battle that will lead to our deaths. And so, they clashed again. Ame. Man. It's actually getting pretty lonely now that Ma and Pa are gone. Naruto thought as he walked through the empty corridors of the tower. I don't think I want to let them go the next time I. His eyes widened, and he jumped back just in time for the ground to be pierced by hundreds of paper shurikens? I cannot allow you to go further. A woman said as she materialized in front of Naruto. She had blue hair and a white origami flower in her hair. I see. Akatsuki, huh? Are you Pain? No. I'm Konan. The woman said calmly, getting a nod from Naruto. I see. Well, I don't really have any beef with you, so if you'd just let me go see Pain, I'd be really grateful. I can't let you do that, Konan said, making Naruto sigh as he took his first sip of sake since he got to Mount Mayuboku. Well, that sucks. That plate, Konan said and gestured for the horn plate on Naruto's sleeve. That's the same plate Jiraiya wears on his headband. Oh, you know Uro-Ojiji? Naruto asked with a grin. And he's your sensei, too? Wait, Konan. Oh, you're one of those orphans he trained during the war, aren't you? He told you about that? He's told me all about his life. I'm aspiring to be like him, after all, Naruto said as he took another sip of his sake. You want a drink before we get started? No, thank you. At least you're a little more polite than others, Naruto said as he attached the sake bottle to his hip again. Let's do this then. Konan said nothing. Her feet just broke down into small pieces of paper that flew up and formed wings attached to her shoulder blades. Naruto started laughing. I knew you were an angel. I knew no mere human could be that beautiful. Konan was taken aback by this statement, giving Naruto an opening. He formed some lightning-fast seals before putting his hand to his mouth. Kaden, Karyu Enden, Fire Element, Fire Dragon Flame Projectile. He called and blew a jet of fire at Konan, whose eyes widened as the flames enveloped her. It couldn't have been that easy. Naruto thought, only to nod to himself and flip back as thousands of paper blades came flying at him from the ceiling. They're getting closer. He thought as he started hopping backwards, until his back hit a wall. Crap. The last paper blades came flying at him, and he closed his eyes, awaiting death. It never came. When he opened his eyes, he saw that there was one paper blade on each side of his neck, one under each armpit and one right below his dangly bits. He sighed when he saw that it hadn't hit. Thank you, Lady Luck. He thought as he moved away from the wall. I missed? Konan thought to herself, staring at Naruto from her spot 16 yards away from him. In heaven. You did that, Fate said as she turned to Mai, who smiled. I can't help him down there, but I can help him from up here. Go, my boy, Minato shouted as he sat next to Mai. Show that bitch who's boss. I got 5,000 Ryo on the blonde, Shinigami said as he placed the money on the table on which the viewing pool was located. I'll take that bet, Fate said and placed 5,000 Ryo on the table. I'm betting on Origami-chan. Nate-chan? I'm sorry, but I'm betting on her. No god powers, Shinigami said, freezing Fate. Damn. Can I take the bet back? Nope. On Earth. Do you honestly think you can beat Pain? Konan asked as she walked towards Naruto. He is a god. Men who claims to be gods usually dies, Naruto said with a shrug. I'm just thinking that I should hurry up the process. Suddenly, another Naruto appeared behind Konan and kicked her in the temple, only for her head to break down into small pieces of paper. You can't even beat me, she said as her head materialized again. That paper is starting to get annoying, Naruto said, dispelling the clone behind Konan. You don't even have a plan of attack, Konan said, getting a shrug from Naruto. I'm not a planner. I just do things and hope for the best, he said and formed a few hand seals. Ninpa, Tao Tuyu Kyur Yu, flowing oil current, I think. His cheeks puffed out and he leaned his head back, before snapping it forward, releasing a powerful torrent of oil that blasted Konan down the corridor. I don't think that your paper can separate when it's covered in sticky oil, Naruto said as he walked up to Konan, who was laying on the floor. He reached into his coat to take out a match, lighting it by scratching it on the growing stubble under his chin. And you want to know something interesting about paper, Origami Tenchi? He asked with a grin. He held out the match, so it was over Konan's prone form on the floor, making her eyes widen. It burns. With that, he dropped the match. Konan was immediately engulfed by flames. Her screams followed Naruto down the hall. Wow. That was brutal. In heaven. Did he just light that woman on fire? Mai asked with wide eyes. He didn't really have a choice, did he? Minato asked with a raised eyebrow. I mean, she was made of paper and just assimilated every time he tried to hit her. But that was still pretty brutal. I like that boy, Shinigami said with a grin as he stared at the smoking ash that used to be Konan. Back on Earth. Naruto walked down the corridor until it split. 2 ways, he murmured and reached into his coat, taking out a coin. Heads, I go right, tails, I go left. He flicked the coin into the air and watched as he spun, before catching it and placing it on the back of his hand. When he lifted his hand, he saw the face of one of the previous fire daimyos. Right it is. -10 minutes later. Naruto walked into a dark room. It was damp and only had one thing in it, a stone casket. He shrugged as he walked up to it, pushing the lid off. Laying in the casket was a man wearing an Akatsuki cloak. He had black hair that hung down so it covered his right eye, and his open eyes had several rings around them. I already knew you'd come, he said calmly as he sat up. Pain, I presume? Naruto asked, getting a nod from the man, who smiled. And you are Uzumaki Naruto, Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi no Yoko. My bodies in Konoha were informed of your presence here in Ame when Jiraiya-sensei summoned those toads. Are you sure you wish to fight me? I'm positive, Naruto said with a nod as he backed up. Nagato nodded as he got out of the casket. Very well. I'll show you the power of a god. Amuse me, god, Naruto said. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 10 clones formed around Nagato, all of them staring at him with a bored look. You shouldn't be so calm around me, Nagato said and disappeared, appearing behind one of the Narutos, slamming him into the ground, making him disappear in a poof of smoke. He disappeared again and appeared behind another Naruto, kicking him in the back, causing him to poof away. It continued like that, until only one Naruto was left. You're the real one, he said and took a step forwards. Suddenly, he heard the croaking of a toad and looked down to see a black toad standing in front of him. Expecting something from the toad, he never thought that Naruto would appear in the air in front of him and punt him in the face, sending him flying backwards, crashing into the casket, causing it to shatter. You're good, Nagato said as he got up. The toad was a distraction, wasn't it? He asked and gestured for the toad that was once again below him. Naruto didn't answer. Instead, the toad opened its mouth and out came another Naruto, catching Nagato off guard with an uppercut that sent him backflipping into the air, before slamming down on the ground. No, it wasn't, Naruto said with a grin as the Naruto that had punted Nagato disappeared. Thanks. He told the toad, who nodded before puffing away. Time to get serious, Nagato said as he got up again and went through a string of hand seals. Suten, Mizurappa no Jutsu, water element, violent water wave technique. He called and blew a powerful jet of water out of his mouth, that hit Naruto in the chest so hard, that it passed through him. Naruto suddenly appeared behind Nagato, attempting to deliver an axe kick to his head, but he dodged. Nagato turned to Naruto's previous position to see a piece of the casket with a hole through it. Kawarimi, huh? You're annoying, Naruto said as he got out of his crouch. Funny, I could say the same thing about you. Shit. Naruto thought as he tried to come up with a plan. This would have been a lot easier if I just had my cards. I guess I'll have to wing it. Suddenly, Nagato appeared behind him, interrupting his chain of thoughts. Naruto didn't have time to react as a backspin kick connected with his face, but Nagato wasn't done. When he landed, he delivered an uppercut to Naruto's gut with his left hand, followed by elbow Naruto in the back of his head with the right. This is foolish, Naruto-kun, Nagato said as he walked around Naruto's prone form. Why don't you just give up and let us extract the Kyuubi willingly? Naruto coughed with a grin. Why? He asked as he chuckled. Because I don't feel like it. From out of nowhere, he pulled out a kunai and stabbed it into Nagato's foot, making the Rinnegan user's eyes widen. Naruto followed that up by spinning around on his back before flipping over and delivering a horse kick to Nagato's face, sending him stumbling back, the kunai still in his foot. Nagato reached down and pulled the kunai out. You made me bleed, he said, getting an apologetic grin from Naruto, who jumped back and bit his thumbs before swiping some blood under his eyes. Sorry, but this is a fight, after all, he said and put his hands in a tiger seal. Now it's time for me to get serious. Konoha. Fukasaku perked up and leaned in to whisper in Jiraiya's ear. Jiraiya-chan. Naruto-chan needs me right now. Jump back a distance so you can stand still and cover these guys with jutsus. Jiraiya nodded and jumped on top of a semi-ruined building. This'll do, Shima said, nodding to herself before turning to Fukasaku. Make sure Naruto-chan doesn't get too injured, pa. I will, ma, Fukasaku said with a nod before puffing away. You think he'll be alright? Shima asked, getting a nod from Jiraiya. Yeah. He's my grandson, after all. Now, let's help the others. Light up the oil, Ma, he said as he took a deep breath. Will do. Ame. Nagato's eyes widened considerably when he saw that Naruto entered Sennin Mudo, just like his sensei. Fukasaku stared at Nagato. So, this is the real pain, huh? Yup, Naruto said with a nod. So, are you ready for the first time we use fusion in battle? I'm ready, Fukasaku said, nodding. How about you? As ready as I can be at the moment. Enough of this, Nagato said and formed a string of hand seals. Suten, Suikouten no Jutsu, water element, water shark projectile technique. He called, causing a column of water to rise from the puddle on the floor and shoot off towards Naruto. Fukasaku-sensei. Fan my flames, Naruto said and took a deep breath. Gotcha, Sonny, Fukasaku said and took a deep breath as well. They both snapped their heads forwards, Naruto unleashing a jet of fire, and Fukasaku blowing a strong gust of wind at the flames, making them stronger. Nagato was surprised to see that his technique was stopped by a fire jutsu. He was even more surprised when the fire went through it and headed straight towards him. Outside, the people of Ame looked up when they saw that the top of highest of the west towers exploded. That was a weak jutsu, pain, Naruto said calmly. I underestimated you, Nagato said, equally calm. You seem to have done that a lot during this fight. It's strange. You claim to be a god, yet I've so far managed to land a hit on you, make you bleed, and defeat your jutsu. Then what does that make me? A super god? Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. I'm not amused, Nagato said, making Naruto sigh. Well, we should continue this, he said and disappeared, reappearing behind Nagato, delivering a kick to the back of his head, sending him skidding across the ground. Naruto didn't give Nagato enough time to recover and appeared in front of him again, kicking him in the face. He followed the up by jumping into the air, spinning, and slamming his elbow into Nagato's spine. All Nagato could do was give off a struggled cry of pain. He tried to get up, only for Naruto to flip him over with his foot. Don't try to move. I've severed the third and fifth joint in your spinal column. You're not getting up, he said as he formed a Rasengan in his right hand. This can't happen to me. I am a god. I can't die. And that's why you lost, Naruto said and gestured for Fukasaku with his head. According to what Pa told me, you've been using other bodies to do your work. That's why you never could grasp how mortal you really are. And that's why you will die now, he said and slammed his Rasengan into Nagato's chest, turning his heart and lungs into mush and his ribs to dust. Konoha, a minute earlier. This was foolish of you all. Kendu Pain said calmly, standing in front of the prone forms of the Konoha ninjas as a black spike protruded from his and the other's cloak. Kushina was injured badly. She was sporting a stab wound in her shoulder, and a large gash on her stomach. Jiraiya was standing still on the same place he was earlier, Gakidu Pain standing in front of him with his spike at the ready. Sarutobi had a broken leg and a couple of broken ribs, and he was sure, from the blood bubbles, that one of them was sticking into his lung. Sasuke's arms were snapped and he had a slash wound going from his left shoulder to his right hip. Kakashi's arms were also snapped, and he had one of those damnable spikes sticking through his left lung. Gaara didn't sport any injuries yet. He was just out of chakra, and his automatic defense wasn't functioning anymore. For defying God, you will all die. The Pains said in unison and were just about to stab the Konoha ninjas, when their eyes widened, and their eyes lost their Rinnegan. After that, they just collapsed. Did he win? Jiraiya asked, smiling. He won, he shouted and turned to the watching Konoha ninjas. We need medics, stat. That boy sure is something else, Shima said with a grin. He sure is. Ame. Wow. I guess we made it here too late. Came a voice from behind Naruto, making him turn around to see Hoshigaki Kisame, Uchiha Itachi and 5 others, all dressed in Akatsuki cloaks. That's good, Naruto said as he went out of his Sennin Mudo. The whole Akatsuki is gathered. Now I don't have to hunt you all down. What? You think you can beat us all, you little shit? A guy with slicked back, silver hair, wielding a 3-bladed scythe, exclaimed with a smirk. I think so, Naruto said calmly as he reached into his pouch, taking out a scroll. Pa, go back to Uro Ojiji. Tell him that I might not be coming back. What are you talking about, Naruto-chan? Fukasaku asked with wide eyes. I'm not leaving you. Just do it, please, Naruto said firmly, letting Fukasaku know that he wouldn't take no for an answer. Fukasaku sighed. All right. I'll tell him, he said and disappeared with a poof. That wasn't wise, Naruto-kun, Itachi said. Sending away a strong ally such as one of the Toad Elders, he said, making Naruto laugh. If he'd stayed, he probably would have been ripped off my shoulder from the speed. Speed? I've been meaning to try this in combat for a while, Naruto said, unrolling the scroll. I just never thought that it would be in my last. Kai. An explosion of smoke erupted from the scroll, sending 3-pronged kunais flying everywhere, filling the entire room. Itachi's eyes widened. These kunais. Naruto appeared in front of Itachi with a bright, yellow flash. Die, he roared and slashed at Itachi with a kunai, only for Itachi to duck and attempt to hit Naruto, but too late. He had already appeared in front of Zetsu, stabbing him in the throat, killing him instantly. There were several quick flashes, and in the end, Naruto stood above Hidan's severed head, the others laying dead on the floor. Kakuzu had a kunai in each of his hearts, Itachi's throat had been slashed open and Kisame's head had been removed from his body. Hey, asshole! That hurt, Hidan shouted, making a panting Naruto growl as he raised his foot. You're annoying, he shouted over Hidan's insults and slammed his foot down on the head, turning it into mush. He slowly walked out of the room, into the corridor. Suddenly, he stopped. Well, that's it. I'm out of chakra. He thought as he fell to his knees. I knew it. I still haven't gotten it right. His vision started fading as he fell forward. He could vaguely feel himself get turned over and opened his eyes to stare into an orange mask. My, Naruto-kun. You are strong. To be able to kill every single member of Akatsuki takes skill. Don't worry. I won't kill you. You're doing such a good job at it by yourself. The man said with a chuckle. But if you somehow survive this, I will be watching you, and when you get strong enough, I will come for you. Train hard, Naruto-kun, descendant of Senju Hashirama. Then, his vision turned black again. In heaven. No, Mai said as she stared at the pool. No, she shouted and disappeared in a flash of light, only to appear kneeling next to Naruto, who materialized in heaven, laying on his back with his eyes closed. Great job, son, Minato exclaimed with a grin as he stood above him. You kicked their asses. That voice. Naruto thought, feeling that his eyes were too heavy to open. I know that voice. On Earth. Mai used his powers to teleport herself, Naruto and the to Konoha, appearing in the Konoha square. Konoha, a couple of minutes earlier. Fukasaku appeared on Jiraiya's shoulder, allowing him to move again. Jiraiya grinned at Fukasaku while the medics carried the wounded ninjas away. You did it. I knew he could do it. I knew it, he exclaimed, but his grin dropped when he saw Fukasaku's solemn look. What's wrong? Naruto might not be coming back, Fukasaku said, making Shima's and Jiraiya's eyes widen. What do you mean, Pa? When Naruto had killed Pain, the rest of the Akatsuki appeared, Fukasaku said, making their eyes widen to the size of dinner plates. What? That's not all. Naruto told me to leave and tell you this. But he took out a black scroll as well. When we found him on Mount Mayuboku, we couldn't open that scroll. No, Jiraiya exclaimed as he started running. He hasn't perfected that jutsu yet. It's not ready for combat, he shouted, running past the medics. What are you talking about, Jiraiya-chan? Shima asked, making Jiraiya growl. I never should have taught him that jutsu. What jutsu? The Hiraishin, Jiraiya shouted, making Shima's and Fukasaku's eyes widen. But he hasn't perfected it yet, so it still sucks chakra like that fat Pain. Suddenly, as they reached the square, there was a flash of light, and Mai appeared, kneeling next to Naruto. Naruto-kun, she shouted as she patted his cheek. Don't die. You can't die. You just can't. Mai, Jiraiya shouted as he spotted the blonde, who ignored him and put her fingers against Naruto's neck, looking for a pulse, only to find none. Oh, no, Mai exclaimed and closed her eyes. I'm gonna have to do it. She thought and placed her hands over Naruto's chest. They started to glow a bright yellow, forcing everyone watching to close their eyes. Mai, do you realize what you're doing? Came a voice in Mai's head. I know what I'm doing, To-san, and I don't care if I lose my position as a god. I will not let the man I love die. The voice sighed. Very well. I won't stop you. In heaven. Get up, Naruto. A voice told Naruto, who suddenly found his eyelids growing lighter, allowing him to open them. He looked up to see a face he immediately recognized as the Yondaime, as well as a man with slicked back, white hair and a goatee. He was wearing a white business suit, and he was smiling down at Naruto. "Sit up, my boy," he said, and Naruto obeyed, sitting up and rubbing his head. "Where am I?" "Well, I'm here," Minato said as he crouched down next to Naruto, pointing at his face. "It should be obvious, shouldn't it?" "I'm dead?" "Yep." Another man said, this man with purple skin, white hair and 2 red horns, wearing a white kimono. "So, I'm taking her with me," he said and gestured for the redhead that materialized next to him. "Hi, Naruto-kun," Kyubi exclaimed with a grin, only to drop it when she spotted Minato. "Asshole." Minato chuckled. "You're just pissed because I totally owned your ass. Anyway, my daughter is currently trying to revive you," the white-haired man in the suit said as he gestured for the pool. Naruto got up and looked into it to see. "My-chan?" "Yes." The suit man said with a smile. "I am Kami, and that is my daughter, Mai, but you might know her better as Lady Luck," he said, making Naruto's eyes widen. "What?" he asked as he stared at the blonde woman. "That's Lady Luck?" "Yes, but she won't be for long," Kami said as he walked up to the blonde, staring at the pool with him. "According to our laws, we're not allowed to show out powers on Earth. She's ignoring that law in order to save you. As punishment for such a crime, a god is stripped from his or her powers. As such, when you get back, she will be mortal." "Hey, son," Minato said as he walked up to Naruto and put a hand on his shoulder. "You truly kicked some ass today. By the way, when you get back, tell Kushina that I love her, and that I watch her every day in the shower," he said, making Naruto blush. "I didn't need to hear that. But I'll tell her." "Thanks." Naruto held up his hand and saw that it was starting to fade away. "It's time to go back, Naruto," Kami said calmly. "I'll be watching you though. If you do anything to hurt my daughter, you can count on that you'll be receiving my divine punishment." "I thought that was against the law." "Only if I show my powers on Earth. I can smite you from here." "Oh," Naruto said as his whole body had nearly faded away. "Well, I'll see you when I die, To-san." "Yeah. Take care of your mom and sister for me." "I will." "On Earth." Mai's hand stopped glowing, and she looked at Naruto's body. "Naruto-kun? Can you hear me?" Naruto grunted, making Mai smile as the tears flowed down her cheeks. "How are you?" Naruto slowly raised his hand. He reached into his coat and pulled out his fan, flicking it open and holding it in front of his face. "Peachy," he said with a grin, making Mai laugh. "Where's Anko and Kurenai?" "They're in the shelters with me, Sao." "And Ka-san and the others?" "They're heading for the hospital now. If you'd killed Pain just a second later, they'd be dead," Mai said, making Naruto give off a weak grin. "Well, then I guess I'm glad I didn't give a longer speech," he said and was about to get up, when a sudden pain in his stomach stopped him. "I think I'm in need of some medical assistance. And we're gonna have to talk about your father later." Mai was shocked. "So? You met him?" "Yes, I did, my lady," Naruto said with a grin. "Ever since that deck of cards saved me from death, I've always known that you had a thing for me." "Naruto," Jiraiya said as he walked up to Naruto. "You used that jutsu?" "Sorry, Ojiji," Naruto said, shocking Jiraiya that he didn't call him Uro Ojiji. "I couldn't think of anything else." "Naruto," Tsunade shouted as she arrived at the scene. "How are you?" "Ba-chan." "Perfect timing. I think I may be in need of some medical assistance," Naruto said while Fukasaku laughed. "You did good, boy. You're worthy of that," he said and pointed at the oil plate on Naruto's sleeve. "Oh, what's with the new clothes, Naruto?" Jiraiya asked as he noticed that Naruto wore different clothes. "My old ones were shredded by a fish," Naruto said, making Jiraiya sweat drop. "A fish?" "The old muncher," Shima said, getting a nod from Jiraiya. "Oh, him. He ate my hit I ate once." Yeah. Can I go to the hospital now?" "You shouldn't move yet," Tsunade said as her hands started glowing green. "I'll heal you here." -1 week later. Naruto sat in his bed in the hospital, bored out of his mind. He was all healed up, but they wouldn't let him go yet. Sasuke walked into the room, his upper body bandaged and his arms in casts. "Yo, Naruto. You wanna go for a walk?" he asked, making Naruto sigh. "I'm forbidden from leaving the bed. The hospital staff doesn't want to chase me down when I escape again." "Oh. How's Ka-san?" Sandaime-sama and Kakashi are healing nicely, Sasuke said. Misao is with Kushina now. I see, Naruto said as he fluffed up his pillow. I'm so bored. When Naruto was put in the hospital, Anko, Kurenai and Mai were there immediately, ready to smother him with affection, even if he just wanted to sleep. Now, Anko and Kurenai were back at work, while he was still in bed, and Mai was at home with Misao, though Misao must have sneaked out. I'm sorry, Sasuke, Naruto suddenly said, making Sasuke raise an eyebrow. What for? Pain came here for me. It's technically my fault you're wounded. Sasuke stared at Naruto for a while, before scoffing. Idiot. What? You're an idiot, Sasuke said as he sat down. This is not your fault. We were the ones who chose to fight. We could have just told him that you weren't here, but we didn't. It's our own fault. You saved us when you decided to investigate Ame. I guess I did, Naruto said as he stared down at his hands. I have to go see my mom. Why? I have a message for her, Naruto said and got out of his bed. They can't stop me from walking around inside the hospital, right? I don't think so, Sasuke said, making Naruto grin. Well, let's go then. Kushina's room. So, what's it like? Misao asked as she and Gaara stood next to Kushina's bed. What? Kushina asked. Almost dying? Wouldn't you like to know what it's like to die for real? Came Naruto's voice from the doorway. Aniki. Naruto. Hi, Ka-san, Imoto, Gaara, Naruto said, nodding at the three. Ka-san, I almost forgot. I have a message for you. Really? From who? Kushina asked, getting a grin from Naruto. From To-san. What? Kushina, Misao and Gaara exclaimed in unison. Yup. When I died, I met him, Kami and Shinigami. Shinigami took out the Kyuubi and To-san told me to tell you something. Well, what is it? Kushina asked, still wide-eyed. He told me to tell you that he loves you and that he watches you every day in the shower. Ew, Misao exclaimed. That was more than I needed to know. That's what I said. So, even in death. He's still a pervert, Kushina said, blushing. Yup. Well, I need to go see Sensei and Kakashi, Naruto said as he turned to leave. You do that. I'll see you later, Aniki. Alright. On the way to Sarutobi's room, Naruto met a grumbling blonde, who he immediately recognized. Oh, Yugito-san? Why so glum? Why? Yugito asked with a glare. I'll tell you why. I was forced to hide in the shelters while you guys were doing all the fighting. It sucked. All the crying children needing to go to the bathroom. That does suck, Naruto said with a nod. Well, at least you didn't have to get sent to a hospital. Yeah. By the way, what are you doing here? I was just visiting Kakashi-kun, Yugito said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Kakashi-kun? Yeah. You didn't know? We're dating. Wow, Naruto said with wide eyes. Well, congratulations on hooking up with a masked pervert, he said and grinned when Yugito's eyes started twitching. See you later, Yugito-san. Sarutobi's room. That boy sure is something else, Sarutobi said with a smile as he looked at Jiraiya, who was standing next to his bed. He was able to take out 9S rank criminals by himself at once. He surpassed me by far. He can enter Senin Muto without any changes, except for his eyes, and he only need one toad on his shoulder for it. He's strong. He might grow to become the strongest ninja in the world, if he masters the Hiraishin. Yeah, Sarutobi said with a nod. I remember when he was a little child that I could knock over with a poke. Now the tables are turned. Talking about me behind my back? Naruto asked as he entered the room. I hope you're not saying anything bad about me. Don't worry, Jiraiya said with a grin. It's only praise. Good, Naruto said with an identical grin on his face. How are you feeling, sensei? Sarutobi chuckled. I may not be as fit as I once was, but it'll take more than a couple of broken ribs, a busted lung and a broke leg to take me down, he said, getting a nod from Naruto. I'm glad to hear that. By the way, Naruto. Now that you're taking up the title of Sannin, what will you do? Jiraiya asked, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. Well, I'm going to take over your spy network. I know that, but what are you going to do to pass the time? Jiraiya asked as he took out his Icha tactics. This is what I do when I'm traveling. Well, I'm thinking about writing myself, Naruto said, making Jiraiya's eyes light up with excitement. Not smut though. Damn. I don't know what I'll write yet, but I might write an autobiography, Naruto said as he put a hand on his chin. That sounds good. Kami knows that my life could become a good book. Well, if you're feeling well, sensei, I better get back to bed, before Shizune flips out again. You do that, Naruto, Sarutobi said with a smile. I'll see you guys later, Naruto said as he left the room. He's the destined child, Jiraiya said with a nod. I just know it. -2 days later. Naruto was laying on top of the Hokage monument, thinking as he stared up at the stars. Well, the Akatsuki is no more, but there's still Orochimaru. And who was that masked guy? He just popped in and then disappeared. I'll be watching you, Naruto-kun, descendant of Senju Hashirama. Damn it. Why did he have to say that? Now I won't be able to stop thinking about it. Chapter 16, Finale. I'll be watching you, Naruto-kun, descendant of Senju Hashirama. Naruto shot up in his bed, 3 weeks after the battle in Ame. What the fuck? He shouted, shocking his 3 fiancés awake. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? Kurenai asked with wide eyes. I can't get that masked guy out of my head, Naruto exclaimed, his eyes screwed shut. How the hell did he just appear like that? And why didn't he kill me there? Naruto-kun, don't think about that now, Anko said tiredly. Go back to sleep. Naruto sighed, before laying back down. That bastard probably knew that I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. He muttered as his 3 fiancés laid back down as well. The Hokage monument. Uzumaki Naruto. The masked man mumbled as he sat on the Shodai's head. He chuckled. I'm sure you would have been proud of him, Hashi. I wonder if he'll be able to do what you failed to do. To have become this strong without even realizing that his bloodline is active. You there, came a voice from behind him, making him turn around to see a team of 5 Onbus staring at him. Yes? Who are you? You are clearly not a citizen of Konoha. The masked man chuckled as he stood up. Me? I'm one of the first citizens of Konoha, he said and disappeared, reappearing behind the Onbu team. I am Uchiha Madara. And with that, he disappeared, leaving a team of decapitated Onbus behind. A few days later. Naruto was sitting inside the woods, writing in a book, using his scroll as a makeshift chair. The title of the book was The Rise of the Lucky Ninja. He was just coming out of Rice, and had taken over Jiraiya's spy network there, coming into contact with the leader of the Fuma clan. I wonder, Naruto mumbled, leaning back to stare at the sky. Masks. Kakashi wears a mask. He's strong. Onbu wear masks, and they're strong. How strong was that mask? He muttered to himself, before scoffing, grabbing the sake bottle hanging from his waist. Bah! I can't think. He heard something creaking, and quickly spun around, only to find no one. What the hell? He asked, blinking as he stared into the woods. Shaking his head, he turned back, took a sip of sake and continued his writing. Senko, the elemental hero. Sounds good, came the playful voice of the mask, making Naruto turn around again, only to find the Akatsuki playing with a Naruto chibi doll? Strange. You come in doll form. Do you have any idea how hard it was for me to get one of these? I had to body check an old lady and light a lady's skirt on fire. Yeah, I know. I had to tackle 3 old ladies in order to get one for each of my fiancés, Naruto said calmly, though he didn't drop his guard. Who are you? My name is not important, Senju Naruto, the man said playfully. But if you have to call me something, I guess you can call me Toby. Alright. What do you want with me, Toby? Oh, I want to play a little, Toby said, obviously grinning behind his mask as he reached into his coat, taking out a doll, which looked like a homemade Toby doll. The game is called Stop Konoha's Destruction, he said, making Naruto's eyes widen. Toby started playing with the dolls, having them fight each other. The hero of the story, that's you, will try to stop the enemy, that's me, from destroying Konoha. However, when the game starts, I decide. It could start right now, and it could start in 10 years. It all depends on one thing. Naruto narrowed his eyes. He took out his fan and flicked it open. And that is? It depends. On whether or not I'm in the mood. Naruto blinked. Well, that was anticlimactic, wasn't it? Toby asked, laughing. Well, I won't keep you from working on your masterpiece anymore. But remember, I'll be watching you, he said, before vanishing. Naruto blinked, staring at the spot where Toby had once stood, before getting up, pocketing his book and pen, and picking up his scroll, slinging it diagonally across his back. He sniffed around, trying to find Toby's scent, only to find that the trail stopped where it started. "Damn it," he muttered, before looking east. "Well, Iwa is next, I guess." He started walking, only having one thing on his mind. Masks, masks. What I wouldn't give to destroy all the masks. "Toby, you're driving me insane. I never thought I'd loathe something orange with a swirl on it." Some time later, Naruto was sitting by a river, thinking about Toby. Who was he? Where was he from? Why was he wearing that mask? He sighed, dabbing his forehead with a piece of wet cloth. "Damn it," he exclaimed as he laid down, putting his hands behind his head. "I should be gambling right now, not thinking about a stupid, childish, mask-wearing, stupid, wait, I already said that. Insane. I shouldn't be thinking about a stupid, childish, mask-wearing, insane guy like Toby." He sighed again and sat up, deciding to meditate a little to clear his mind. That wasn't so easy, since he could only think about his fiancées, booze, cards and orange swirl masks. "I kinda miss QB. It's so quiet in my head now." He took a deep breath, and focused on his chakra. His eyes snapped open when he felt something. His chakra was flowing into the ground. He closed his eyes and focused on it again, and he noticed some of the chakra sprouting from the ground. Opening his eyes again, Naruto saw something that shocked him. All around him, plants had sprouted from the ground. "Oh, dear. Konoha. I'm so bored," Anko exclaimed, pouting as she sat at Naruto's poker table in his compound with Gaara, Misao, Mai, Kurenai, and Kushina. They were currently playing poker, and Gaara was winning. "And I'm beginning to believe that all Jinchuriki are natural-born gamblers." Gaara shrugged, and kept staring at his card, having a poker face that seemed to be carved from stone. "If you're so bored, then why do you continue to play with us?" Kurenai asked, while trying to see if Gaara was bluffing or not. She'd have more luck staring at a wall. "Because I have nothing better to do," Anko said with a pout. "I wish Naru-kun was here." "He'll be back soon," Kushina said, smiling at her soon-to-be daughter-in-laws. "He just has to establish contact with Jiraiya's spy network, and then, he'll return." "But there are many gambling dens between the spies. It might take longer than anticipated," Mai said as she called Gaara, who remained as stoic as ever. "Gaara," Misao whined, pouting. "Why won't you react to anything?" "Because if I'd react to you rubbing my leg under the table, I'd lose my focus," Gaara spoke calmly, while the women in the room turned to Misao, who blushed. "I just want to win." "Don't worry," Anko said with a grin. "I do it, too." "Not to me," Gaara said, and the others looked around, to see Mai and Kurenai blushing. Gaara finally showed emotion, and suffered from a massive nosebleed. Anko stared down at the now unconscious Gaara, and nodded to herself. "Yep, he's out," she said with a grin, while the others worked on splitting up Gaara's chips. Near Kuza. "Full house," Naruto spoke calmly as he showed his cards to the other three around the table in the gambling den. The others groaned and threw their cards onto the table, while Naruto, grinning like a Cheshire cat, raked in his chips. Another poker game won. The other players were smart enough not to play against Naruto, and headed over to the bar to drink their troubles away. 3 new players sat down, one of whom Naruto recognized. "Toby," he exclaimed, pointing at the masked ninja, who chuckled. "Oh, Naruto-kun. Fancy seeing you here. I had no idea. Are you stalking me?" Toby was quiet, seemingly staring at him, before shrugging. "I don't know." Naruto's eye twitched, and Toby just chuckled. "Come on now, Naruto-kun. You're the big blind." Naruto restrained himself from attacking Toby, and just settled for throwing in the blind. Some time later, after Naruto had wiped the floor with Toby and the other two, Naruto was walking through the gambling town, with Toby following him, enacting the climactic battle, starring Naruto the plushie, and Toby the plushie. "Naruto-kun, you're so mean. Why did you have to steal all my money?" he asked, obviously pouting, judging by his tone of voice. "It's not my fault you're a lousy poker player," Naruto said as he glared at Toby. "You're the one who decided to go all in the first round." "Not my fault." "Was too." "Was not." "Was too." "Lazy blonde." "Masked freak." Toby gasped, and grasped at his heart, staring at Naruto. Naruto almost groaned, thinking he was going to start crying. Then, To Naruto's surprise, Toby started laughing, loudly. "That's a good one, Naruto-kun," he exclaimed, falling to his knees from the laughter. "You know, in all my years wearing this mask, I have never once been called that." Naruto stared at the laughing form of Toby, and shook his head. He seemed to think that Naruto was joking, or something. Deciding not to bother with it, he walked away. -3 months later. Naruto stared up at the gates of Konoha, letting out a sigh of relief. Finally. No more Toby. The masked ninja had followed Naruto wherever he went, and bugged the hell out of him constantly. Naruto hardly even got to train his newfound wood element, due to that masked freak. He sighed and started walking, the guards at the gate saluting him when he passed. Now, he'd go to Tsunade, say hello, give his report, and then, he'd go home, and say hello to his fiancées, followed by hours upon hours of sex. Sex using shadow clones. One thing he loved about his shadow clones was the fact that everything they experience during sex gets transferred to him when they dispel. Thus, if he uses 5 clones, he'd be having sex 6 times in one. A perverted chuckle escaped Naruto's lips, and he whipped out his fan to hide his now bleeding nose from the public as he fantasized about the things he'd do to his fiancées when he met them again. Later, a groggy Tsunade was awakened by a knocking on her door, and she yawned loudly. "Come in." The door opened to reveal Naruto, who was grinning happily at her. "Yo, Ba-chan. What's up?" And Naruto. Tsunade, sleepiness long gone, shot out of her chair and went around her desk, wrapping Naruto up in a death hug. After a few minutes of struggling on Naruto's part, Tsunade finally let him go, and let him give her his report. Connections with Urohojiji's spy network has been established. There was some reluctance, but when they read the scroll from Urohojiji, they realize that I really was his successor. Then, mission accomplished? Tsunade asked, and Naruto nodded. Good, then you may go home. Naruto nodded and got up, ready to go home and have sex with his fiancées, when an explosion went off somewhere in Konoha. Naruto groaned unhappily, and pouted. "I guess I won't be going home just yet." "Go, Naruto," Tsunade exclaimed, and Naruto nodded unhappily, before vanishing. He reappeared near the center of Konoha, where a building, an ordinary apartment building by the looks of it, was on fire. "The hell happened here?" he asked, scratching his head as he saw ninjas and civilians coming out of the building, saving whoever they could. He was about to go help them, when he sensed something behind him, and quickly reached into his coat, pulling out his metal bow staff and extending it, before turning around, blocking a ninjato. "Iwa?" Naruto exclaimed when he saw the ninja in front of him wearing an Iwa Jounin uniform. Not giving him the chance to speak, Naruto quickly smashed the sword away, and slammed the butt of his staff into the ninja's midsection, before spinning around and smacking him on the cheek, sending him flying. Strange. Naruto spun around, finding himself staring at Sarutobi, who was staring at the Iwa ninja, his eyes narrowed. "We haven't detected a single chakra signature, apart from his." "Some kind of distraction?" Naruto asked, getting a shrug in response. "We'll just have to ask him, won't we?" Naruto chuckled. "Anko-chan will definitely be happy." His eyes widened, and he patted Sarutobi on the back. "I'll let you take care of him, sensei. I'm gonna see my family." "Very well. Have fun, Naruto," Sarutobi said, and the blonde nodded, before vanishing. He appeared at the gates of the Namikaze compound, and opened them, coming upon a peculiar sight. Guy was there. He was on the ground, beaten and bleeding. Standing above him was Lee, crying. "Guy-sensei. Talk to me. Wake up." Naruto was about to ask about it, when Kushina came running, wrapped in a towel. She pointed down at Guy, glaring at him. "And don't you ever dare walk in on me in the shower again." Violent as ever, Naruto spoke calmly as he adjusted the scroll on his back, smiling. Kushina turned to him, and he waved. "Hi, Mom." Immediately, Kushina forgot about Guy, and rushed over to Naruto, hugging him. "Welcome back, Naruto." "Thank you," Naruto said, hugging her back. "Hey, where are my fiancés?" "In your house, sulking, like always," Kushina said, grinning. "They're a little lonely without you." "Well, I best go see them then, huh?" Kushina nodded, and Naruto took off, just as Lee finally noticed that he'd returned. "Yosh. Naruto-kun, your return must be celebrated." Lee was suddenly interrupted by a fist, courtesy of Kushina, who smashed him into the ground, right next to his teacher. "Shut up." The next day. He was a tough nut to crack, but we managed, Tsunade said, sitting behind her desk. In front of her was Anko, Shizune, Naruto, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, and Sarutobi. Turned out he had a blocking seal on his tongue, to keep him from spilling any information. Of course, Jiraiya easily studied and broke the seal, and after intense torture, courtesy of everyone's lovable snake Sanin, Anko blushed at the praise. We managed to find out that the man wasn't an Iwa ninja. Eh? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow as he crossed his arms. Then where was he from? Konoha. What? Everyone stared at each other, seeing as everyone, save for Tsunade and Anko, had said the exact same thing. Naruto, however, was the first to snap out of his shock. Konoha? Who the fuck would dress up as an Iwa ninja and bomb a building in their own village? A root ninja, Anko said with a sigh. Apparently, Danzo wanted it to look like Iwa was attacking us. I guess he was hoping the agent would get killed, but things didn't work out the way he planned. We don't have any evidence anymore, though, Tsunade said, getting questioning looks from the others. The root died immediately after he confessed, due to a seal located over his heart. So, we can't have Danzo arrested. What we can do, though, is do things his way. The ninjas in the office blinked a little, and Sarutobi was the first to catch on. Assassination? Hey, assassination, Naruto whispered, chuckling. Funny. The number of possible assassins was just lowered by one, Tsunade said, glaring at Naruto, who shrugged. Plus, I need to have guards for the summit. Summit, Hokage-sama? Kakashi asked, getting a nod from Tsunade. A cage summit has been called, Tsunade said, making everyone's eyes widen. We're going to discuss an alliance. That's good, Naruto said, nodding. If the great nations are allied, they, with all of their allies, can make sure that there won't be another great ninja war. The third was enough, that's for sure, Jiraiya said, getting nods of agreement from those who fought in the war. There might finally be peace in the elemental countries, Tsunade said with a smile. And it's all thanks to Naruto. Everyone turned to the blonde, who'd been getting some dirt out of his nails with a kunai. He looked up and stared at the others. What did I do? You defeated the Akatsuki by yourself, Naruto, Tsunade said, standing up. None of the great nations wants to face another yellow flash. So, they requested an alliance. Now, I'm going to need 2 escorts. Naruto is a given, but the other Tsunade interrupted herself and pointed at Jiraiya, who'd just been about to speak up. Not you. I think Kakashi-san should come as the second escort. The others looked at him, and he explained. Kakashi-san is probably one of the 3 strongest active jounin in the village. It would leave one hell of an impression, wouldn't it? The card shark and Sharingan no Kakashi? Besides, Anko, Shizune, and probably even Uro Ojiji needs to be here for the Danzo assassination. Tsunade nodded. That sounds good. Kurenai, Asuma, she said, looking at the 2 jounins. Are there any genins you would like to nominate to the Chunin exams in a week? Kiba and Hinata. Ino, Asuma said, getting a nod from Tsunade. That's it for now. Anko, be here tomorrow at 1100 hours. Naruto and Kakashi, be here at 1400 hours. Roger, everyone said in unison, before leaving the office. The next day, Kakashi, Naruto and Tsunade were at the gates, with pretty much every single ninja seeing them off. In the front was the Shinobi Council. In front of them was the Konoha elders, Koharu and Homura. Naruto, Kakashi, Homura said, getting the attention of the 2 lazy ninjas. We're entrusting Tsunade Heime's life to you 2. Please don't fail. Don't worry, elder, Naruto said, grinning as he flicked open his fan. My head will have to be cut off before I allow Obachan to even get scratched. It's a promise. We'll do our best, elder, Kakashi said, giving an eye smile. Tsunade Heim, Homura said and nodded to the Hokage. Good luck at the summit. Tsunade nodded, putting on her Hokage hat, and walking off, Naruto and Kakashi close behind. I just thought of something, Naruto said as he fanned himself. Tsunade looked at him, urging him to go on. Since you became Hokage, this is, like, the first time you ever put on that hat. That's true, Kakashi said with a nod. I've never seen you wear it, except for when you accepted the position. It's uncomfortable, Tsunade said with a grunt as she adjusted the hat on her head. I'd prefer it if we just had to wear, like, an armband, or something. That'd be simpler, Naruto said with a nod. But it'd leave less of an impression. The trip to the Land of Iron was uneventful. There was one time when a group of bandits tried to attack them, but the sheer power the three ninjas radiated told them that would be a bad idea. Wisely, they chose to back off. The Land of Iron was a small, neutral land formed by three mountains called the Three Wolves. It maintained a unique culture and strong military, which used samurai for protection. Ninja villages respected their neutrality and did not challenge their force. Their neutrality made them a good location for the cage summit called by the Raikage. At the border of the Land of Iron, Toby stood, along with Orochimaru, who glanced at him. "So, all I have to do is go in there, and get you the Kyuubi brat? Do that, and I'll stop hunting you," Toby said with a nod. "I'm strong, but facing the five Kages is suicide. I'll get killed for sure," Orochimaru said, getting a chuckle from Toby, who released some strong ki. "What do you think will happen if you don't do it?" he asked, still chuckling. "Worry about me, Orochimaru." Orochimaru sighed, before melting into the ground. Meanwhile, Tsunade, Naruto and Kakashi entered the building, where they would be meeting the other Kages. Tsunade nodded, and Naruto and Kakashi headed up a set of stairs, while Tsunade entered a round room. Naruto and Kakashi came out on the floor above the room, where there was a stand overlooking the meeting room. Looking around, Naruto saw Baki and Kankuro, ninjas from Suna. He also saw two Iwa ninjas, one incredibly fat, and the other a rather cute woman. The Kiri escorts were a large man, obviously a 10-year veteran, at least. Most likely closer to 20. The other was someone Naruto recognized as a member of the Seven Swordsmen, 6th ranked Kujuru. He was ranked 6th because, though he was skilled, he lacked confidence. Upon closer inspection, the other Kiri ninja was a man named Ao. That eye patch was a bit of a mystery, and not even Jiraiya's spy network could find out what was under it. There was also a rumor that he had battled Uchiha Shisui at one time. Whether he won or not was unknown. The two Kumo escorts were nothing to talk about. One of them looked extremely normal, which was strange for a ninja, and the other one looked kinda like the Kumo equivalent of Shikamaru, droopy and lazy looking. Naruto remembered something, and grinned, reaching into his pocket, taking out a fistful of rings. Kakashi raised an eyebrow as he watched Naruto put them on, and his eye widened when he saw what they were. Akatsuki rings. 9 of them. He wore one of each finger, save for his left little finger. "This'll leave more of an impression, won't it?" Naruto asked with a grin as he showed off the rings. Kakashi was about to respond, when someone spoke down in the meeting room. "Place your hats on the table." The two Konoha ninjas looked down, finding all the Kages sitting at a C-shaped table, with a man in front of them, his head wrapped in bandages. The Raikage was a huge man, muscled and dark-skinned, with his platinum hair tied into cornrows. The Tsuchikage was a short, bald old man with thick eyebrows, and very small eyes. The Mizukage was one of the most beautiful women Naruto had ever seen, with long, brown hair that reached down to her lower back. Her right eye was covered by her hair, and Naruto could swear he could feel the perverted blush coming from Kakashi. The Kazekage made Naruto raise an eyebrow. Temari, Gaara's sister, was sitting in the Kazekage's chair. "My name is Mifune. I will be your moderator," the man with the bandages said, a no-nonsense look on his face. "The meeting will now begin." "I'll go first," Temari said. "Listen up. The makeup of the 5 Kages sure has changed. You must be something special to be made Kazekage at your age," that Tsuchikage said, staring hard at Temari. "Your father must have taught you right, but apparently, he forgot to instill in you any manners. I guess. That's why I'm here as Kazekage," Temari said, getting a loud laugh from the Tsuchikage. "Ha! Cheeky brat. Tsuchikage, please stop interrupting," the Mizukage said, and turned to Temari. "Kazekage, please continue." "My brother is a host. Akatsuki nearly captured a year ago, trying to extract the beast," Temari explained, resting her chin against her hands. "That's why I believe Akatsuki is extremely dangerous." "What's that about?" Naruto asked, getting a shrug from Kakashi. "That happened before Gaara came to Konoha. Well, it was the reason why he moved to Konoha. I requested aid from the other Kages many times, but they all ignored me," Temari continued. "Except for Hokage Dono. Though at this point, with so many hosts captured, it's too late for aid." "Humph. If a country had its host captured, it has no business giving other countries orders. It's an embarrassment," Tsuchikage said, glaring at the Kages. "You should have tried to recover it in secret. Once it's stolen, you can't expect other countries to help you. Appearance. Honor. I don't have time for that ridiculous, old-fashioned thinking." Suddenly, everyone in the stands perked up, when the Raikage raised his fist. At once, all of them blurred down in front of the cage, who slammed his fist into the table, breaking it. Quit your yapping. Naruto and Kakashi were in front of the escorts, also in front of the Raikage's escorts, who were in front of the huge man, ready to defend him. Their eyes widened, however, when they saw who they were facing off against. The card shark and Sharingan no Kakashi. We are here to talk, Mifune said, glaring at the ninjas. Please refrain from such displays of rudeness. Stand down, Naruto, Kakashi, Tsunade said, getting smiles from her ninjas, who nodded and blurred up into the stands again. You too Kankuro, Baki, Tamari said, and her ninjas did the same. Ow, Kujuru, it's alright, Mizukage told her ninjas, who nodded and went up to the stands, while the Iwa ninjas headed upstairs when Tsuchikage jerked his head. When everyone were seated, Raikage glared at the other Kages. Konoha, Iwa, Suna, Kiri. Akatsuki is made up from missing nin from your villages. And that. He was interrupted when Naruto blurred down again, sitting down in front of Tsunade as he covered his fan. Why are you stuck in the past, Raikage-sama? The other Kages looked at him, Tsuchikage glaring when he noticed who he was. What are you talking about, boy? Akatsuki. Why are you all arguing about an organization that no longer exists? What do you mean, no longer exists? Mizukage asked, furrowing her brow in confusion. I have received no such information. I guess no one decided to spread the news, Naruto said, smiling. Then, he held up his hands, showing off his Akatsuki rings. A few months ago, I destroyed the Akatsuki. All in one go, I might add, Tsunade added, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's impossible, Tsuchikage yelled, glaring. Akatsuki is made up of 9 S-rank ninjas. Naruto smirked and reached into his coat, taking out a 3-pronged kunai. Ever hear of the Hiraishin, Tsuchikage-sama? The other Kages gaped at Naruto. Another Konoha ninja able to use the Hiraishin? And Konoha's card shark at that? That's still impossible, Raikage roared, glaring fiercely at Naruto. My brother was kidnapped by Akatsuki just a few days ago. Unlikely, Naruto said, chuckling. I met B a few days ago when I was heading back home to Konoha, he said and reached into his coat, taking out a pair of sunglasses. I won these from him in a game of poker. The Raikage stared at the sunglasses for a few seconds, before snapping. That jackass. He used it as an excuse to leave the village and gallivant about. I won't let him get away with this. You should have figured that out already, Naruto said, scratching his head. After all, B told me he forgot to leave signs of a struggle. Anyway, didn't you call this meeting to discuss an alliance, Raikage? Tsunade asked, raising an eyebrow. Or did you lie to get us here? A little bit of both, actually. The Raikage was about to continue, when the building suddenly shook, and a crack formed in the wall. Naruto sniffed the air, and his eyes widened, just in time for the wall to shatter, and a snake came flying at him, knocking straight into his chest and sending him flying through the opposite wall. Naruto, Tsunade yelled, and headed of the hole in the wall, only for a purple shield to appear in front of the hole. Can't have you joining the battle, Tsunade Heim, came a voice from inside, making Tsunade's eyes widen. The Raikage growled and slammed his fist into the wall, crumbling it, to find Orochimaru standing in the next room, a purple shield protecting him from outsiders, with Naruto on the floor in front of him, rubbing his chest. Ow! Naruto muttered, before shooting to his feet, his fan already covering his face. Yo, Orochi-kun. What's up? Orochimaru twitched in annoyance at the name, before smirking. It's a shame, Naruto-kun, but I've come to kill you. Perfect, I've been waiting for an opportunity, Naruto exclaimed, and turned toward Tsunade. Oi, Ba-chan. Watch closely, will ya? I'll show you something super cool. He flashed her 2 thumbs up. Super cool, Ba-chan. Tsunade's sweat dropped. Focus on your opponent, you fool. TCH, fine, Naruto said as he turned back to Orochimaru. Shall we get started? Before Orochimaru had even started to respond, Naruto's hands shot up, and he formed hand seals at a fast rate, ending in a snake seal. Mukuten, Dai Jurin no Jutsu, Wood Element, Great Forest Technique, he exclaimed, and shot out with his arm, as several wooden pikes grew out of his arm, shooting off toward Orochimaru, who went wide-eyed. He hadn't been expecting that. However, he jumped out of the way, forming hand seals as well. Kaden, Gukakyu no Jutsu, Fire Element, Grand Fireball Technique, Orochimaru exclaimed as he blew a huge ball of fire out of his mouth, sending it flying toward Naruto, engulfing him. Suddenly, Naruto appeared behind the snake man, hitting him in the temple with his bow staff, sending him flying. He didn't give him time to recuperate, however, as he flashed away in an all too familiar yellow flash, making the watching Kija's eyes widen, along with the other ninjas watching. Without the kunai, Kakashi exclaimed as Naruto appeared to be playing table tennis with Orochimaru, flashing back and forth and kicking the pale Sannin. How's that possible? No idea. Tsunade muttered, while the others just gaped. Hiraishin. That Tsuchikage muttered, his eyes wide in disbelief. Naruto flashed 10 times, and appeared a few feet behind Orochimaru, who suddenly screamed in pain as his body was sliced up, spraying blood over the floor. He fell to his knees, drawing raspy breaths. Why you? You bastard, he hissed, while Naruto merely turned to him, smiling, though he was panting a little. Man, that's really draining, you know, he sighed as he formed a few more hand seals, ending in snake. Suddenly, wooden spikes shot out of the ground, and Orochimaru was forced to dodge, jumping to the side, but due to the pain he was in, he was forced to roll as his knees gave out, just in time for a wooden spike to pass through the air where his head had been just a millisecond before. Damn! Naruto muttered as he watched Orochimaru get up, seemingly no longer bothered by his injuries. You're gonna pay for that, you little brat. Orochimaru muttered, while Naruto just laughed. I took out the entire Akatsuki by myself, Oro-chan. What could you do? He asked as he flashed away, appearing in the air behind Orochimaru, his bow staff extended. The purple cage was suddenly filled with dust as Naruto rammed his bow staff into Orochimaru's neck, slamming him into the ground. Once the dust cleared, the spectators could see Naruto standing over Orochimaru, though you couldn't see the snake Sannin's head, which was buried under the ground, with the bow staff pushing it down. Suddenly, a sword shot out of the ground, heading straight for Naruto's heart. Reacting quickly, Naruto jumped to the side, landing several feet away with a raised eyebrow. The sword retracted into the ground, and soon, Orochimaru stood up, pulling his head out of the ground. Before Naruto had the chance to speak, Orochimaru let out a hissing roar as his body started bulging. Naruto just stood there, wide-eyed, as Orochimaru's body grew into a long, snake-like body, consisting of hundreds of small, white snakes. Now, Naruto had to whistle. Wow! You're not even human anymore, are you? Orochimaru, swallowed by rage, didn't respond. Instead, he just charged Naruto head-on, not thinking about what he was doing. Naruto just sighed as he held out his hand, a Rasengan already formed. Also charging, he slammed the Rasengan into Orochimaru's nose. Now, Orochimaru made a sound. He let out an agonized shriek as the Rasengan tore his face apart, before blasting him away, into the purple barrier, which set him on fire, turning him to ash in a matter of seconds. Naruto let out a sigh of relief as he walked over to his bow staff, picking it up and folding it, before stuffing it into his coat again, this time taking out 4 cards. He charged them with chakra, and spun 360 degrees, letting the cards fly. The cards passed right through the barrier, hitting each of the 4 auto ninjas in the corners, holding it up. As they all let out choked cries of pain from the cards lodged in their throats, they fell to the ground, letting the barrier drop. When he walked up to the stunned Kijas, he grinned. I know what you're all thinking right now. You're all thinking, did he just take down one of the most dangerous criminals in the world without breaking a sweat? He guessed, chuckling as he took out his fan, flicking it open and covering his face. The answer is yes. Yes, I did. When he saw that no one had moved, he cleared his throat. Well, should we continue with the meeting? This got them all moving again. The next day, they were eager to agree to the alliance, Naruto said, his face covered by his fan as Kakashi, Tsunade and he were heading towards Konoha again. After Naruto's display of skill, Tsunade had suggested the 5-village alliance, and they were all quick to agree. If anything, that had just managed to inflate Naruto's ego even more, if that was even possible. So, as they walked through the gates of Konoha, Naruto flashed away, leaving many people in awe as they saw it. He reappeared inside his house, sitting in his chair in the dining room, with his feet up on the table, yawning. Only then did he realize that his family was at the table, staring at him with wide eyes. Oh, hello, he said as he waved cheerfully. Everyone just stared at him, slack-jawed. He raised an eyebrow. What? Did you just use the Hiraishin? Kushina asked, getting a grin from Naruto. Maybe. Deciding to ask later, Kurenai cleared her throat. So, how was the cage summit? Oh, the usual, Naruto said with a shrug. They argued, Orochimaru attacked, I killed him with style, and scared the Kages into agreeing to form an alliance. Once again, the occupants of the table went slack-jawed. Naruto just set his eyes on a dish. Ooh, Dengo. As he started digging into the food, the others followed shortly after, all of them deciding to get details from Naruto later. Oh, Anko said suddenly, smiling. In other news, I'm pregnant. Everyone went slack-jawed again, including Naruto. A thud was heard, and Naruto was found on the floor, passed out. The next day, Naruto, Tsunade and Jiraiya were sitting in a bar in southern Konoha, all three of them shit-faced. I don't get it. Naruto slurred, barely keeping his eyes open. It's too much. First, the summit, th and Orochimaru, and now this. I'm too young to be a father, aren't I? Tsunade shrugged, as did Jiraiya. You're never too old, brat, or too old. Well, I srs hell don't wanna have a baby at this age, I can tell you that, Jiraiya muttered, getting a nod of agreement from Tsunade. That's true, but I just said that you're never too old, I never said that you wanted to have kids at this age. How about a game of poker? Naruto asked, reaching into his coat to take out a deck of cards. Jiraiya and Tsunade grinned. Finally, they'd be able to beat Naruto, since he was drunk. Too bad they didn't think about the fact that they were drunk as well. So, the next day, Naruto woke up in his living room, on the couch, hungover and red-eyed. Next to him was a pile of clothes, Jiraiya's and Tsunade's. Remembering everything the two bet yesterday, Naruto chuckled merrily as he got off the couch, heading toward the kitchen, going to make coffee. He hummed a slow tune as he sat on his porch, a cup of coffee in his hand as he watched Misao and Gaara walk by. He waved at them, and they waved back. There was something he'd forgotten. He was sure of it. He just couldn't remember. So, later that day, he was surprised to find people smiling and congratulating him. And it wasn't because Anko was pregnant, that was for damn sure. So, why were they congratulating him? Hey, congratulations, Namikaze-sama. An old shopkeeper, one of the ones who'd always been kind to him, said as he waved at Naruto. I always knew you could do it. Ah, yeah, Naruto said, smiling as he waved back, though he had no idea what the man was talking about. Then, when he got to the Hokage Tower, he got an answer as to why people were congratulating him. The guards outside the tower stood at attention as he approached. Good morning, Hokage-sama, they exclaimed in unison, and Naruto just nodded a greeting back as he entered. Then, as he headed up the stairs, he stopped, as memories of Tsunade's last bet assaulted his mind. I bet the Hokage title, brat. You deserve it. Naruto stood there, blinking, then. Holy shit. Epilogue. Senju Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, now 30, the Rakudaime Hokage, was sitting in his office in the Hokage Tower, sipping sake and reading a report, while three Kage Bunshin were off to the side, doing most of the paperwork. Hatake Kakashi, requesting permission to retire, instead of taking on another team. Denied, one clone said, looking up. Another looked up. Denied. Denied, the last clone said, and Naruto nodded, picking up a red stamp and stamping denied onto the document, before picking up another one. Uchiha Sasuke, requesting permission to rebuild the Konoha military police force. It won't harm our budget, the first clone said and shrugged. Granted. 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 Naruto nodded again and picked up a green stamp, this time stamping granted onto this document. He put it away and picked up another document, one that made his eyes widen. Senju Uzumaki Namikaze Misao, requesting permission to marry Sabaku no Gaara? Denied. The three clones exclaimed in unison as they shot to their feet. Then, one of the clones put a hand on his chin. Then again, they are expecting a baby. It'd be good if they were married before it was born. And we'd get a new brother-in-law. Naruto's eyes widened as he heard the clones talk to each other, and a grin appeared on his face. Hey, guys. The clones turned to him, puzzled looks on their faces. You know what that means? The clones stared for a while. Then, their eyes widened as well, and all four blondes grinned like Cheshire cats. Bachelor party. They all laughed loudly as Naruto picked up his green stamp, and stamped granted onto the paper 5 times. Strippers. Booze. Art. The third clone was interrupted when a knock was heard on the door. With a mental command from Naruto, the three disappeared. Come in. The door opened, and his wife Anko stepped in, along with their 11-year-old son. Senju Yahiko had spiky hair, like his father, only it was purple, like his mother's. He stood at 4'9" inches, and had a shit-eating grin on his face and, unlike his father, only one whisker line on each cheek. His right eye was Naruto's blue, while his left eye was Anko's brown. When nudged by his mother, Yahiko lost his grin, and stood up straighter. Senju Yahiko, here to accept punishment, he said, and Naruto grinned, sitting down in his chair. Morning, Yakun. Morning, Anko-chan, he exclaimed as he waved at the two. Then he realized what Yahiko had said, and raised an eyebrow. What did you do? Not much. He was standing in the middle of the street, selling pictures of you, from our vacation in spring, to women, Anko said, making Naruto twitch. Fangirls. He muttered as he stood up, slowly walking over to Yahiko, who gulped. Yakun. What have I told you? And not to feed the fangirls. And what did you do? I fed the fangirls. Naruto smiled and patted Yahiko on the head. It'll be cleaning the monument for you. Aw, man. Yahiko pouted and stuck his hands into his pocket, glaring down at the floor. I'm a ninja now. I shouldn't have to do crap like this. Naruto chuckled. You're a genin. You'll only do crap like this, he said with a grin, getting an identical grin from Anko, who leaned towards him and gave him a quick kiss. Don't be late tonight, love, she said as she started leading Yahiko out of the office. The whole family finally has a day where everyone is in the village. It's time for a family dinner. Naruto nodded with a smile and went back to his desk, sitting down and zealously creating 3 cage bunshine, all of whom went to work immediately. Nothing could keep me from a family dinner. One's all we've had this year so far, right? One clone asked, and Naruto nodded. Then, his eyes widened a fraction, and he reached for his sake, taking a sip. Tomorrow, all right? A chuckle was heard from the window, and Naruto turned his chair to find Uchiha Madara, sometimes known as Tobi, sitting in a lazy position with his elbows resting on his knees. All right, I guess I can do that. Interrupting a family dinner wouldn't be very nice, would it? Madara asked, obviously smiling under his mask. He was no longer acting like the playful Tobi, like he'd done when Naruto first met him. He was more serious, and his voice was darker. However, he was more polite than usual. And I think our fight would take all day. Feeling nostalgic? Naruto asked, getting a nod from Madara. A life and death battle with a senju. It's been over 50 years. I kinda miss those days. There was less corruption. We fought to the death in the battlefield, and not amongst each other. Rumor has it, you, yourself, was corrupted by greed. Could you blame me? Madara asked, shrugging. The Sharingan is the most powerful doujutsu in the world. The Uchiha were, and still are the greatest bloodline users in the world. Too bad being the greatest bloodline user doesn't mean you're the strongest ninja. Madara nodded sadly. They sat in silence for a while, before Naruto spoke. You ever wonder what it had been like if you hadn't left? Well, the Valley of the End wouldn't exist, that's for sure, Madara said, and they both shared a chuckle. I think about it every day, Naruto-kun, he said as he got up, ready to leave. But I wouldn't go back and change it, even if I could. I figured as much, Naruto said with another chuckle as he got out of his chair. Same time tomorrow, then? Tomorrow, Madara said with a nod, before vanishing. That night, Naruto was sitting in the great dining room on the first floor of his mansion. Around the table was Sasuke, now a jounin, known as the Demon Eyes of Konoha, Jiraiya, who, despite being beaten hundreds of times, still hadn't suffered a fatal heart attack, Kushina, Misao, now a chunin, Gaara, a jounin, Anko, Mai, and Kurenai. Also among them was the kids, Yahiko, Tanuki, Taka, Hizurin, and Minato. Tanuki was Naruto and Anko's second son. He was 1 year younger than Yahiko, and had purple hair tied into a pineapple shape, like his mother, and blue eyes and whisker marks like his father. Taka and Hizurin were Naruto and Kurenai's children. They were 9-year-old identical twins, both of them with spiky, black hair and red eyes. They also had 3 whisker marks on each cheek. Minato was named as such, because he, Mai and Naruto's 6-year-old son, had spiky, blonde hair, and sky blue eyes, just like the Sandaime, and unlike Naruto, he didn't have any whisker marks. Sadly, Sarutobi had died 6 years prior, from a lung disease that not even Tsunade could cure, which was the reason why his urn was named as such. When Sarutobi was diagnosed, Kurenai and Naruto promised that they'd name their first son after him, in honor of one of the greatest Hokages to ever live, Sarutobi Hizurin. Sarutobi fought on for 4 years, so that he could see the twins be born, and was allowed to name the other twin. He chose Taka. Sarutobi died with a smile on his face, taking a nap on Naruto's porch with the twins in his lap. Naruto looked around the table and smiled. He'd gained a big family. "What's wrong, To-san?" Hizurin asked, or maybe it was Taka. Naruto wasn't sure. "You look like you've been given a death sentence, or something. Are you dying?" Naruto laughed loudly, patting his son on the head. A clockwise swirl in his hair. This was Taka. "Don't worry, Taka. I won't die until all of you are married. Then I might decide to kick the bucket." Suddenly, he was bopped on the head by Tsunade, who had just come out of the kitchen. Despite being called Daio-bachan, great-grandma, by the kids, she couldn't hate them for it. She loved her great-grandchildren. "Stop trying to dissuade your children from getting married one day." Naruto grumbled. "Is this how you treat your loving Hokage?" He cleared his throat and grinned at Taka again. "Don't worry, son. I won't die anytime soon." "You better not," Yahiko exclaimed from the other end of the table. "If you die, who's gonna teach me the Rasengan?" Everyone laughed at the eldest Senju-san. Jiraiya was about to speak up, when Yahiko suddenly stood up, pointing at the old pervert. "I'm not getting taught by that old fart. He gets even more perverted with age. Is this how you treat a great ninja like me?" Jiraiya roared, standing up. "You sang a different tune when I got you your birthday presents." "Of course I did. I had just graduated from the academy, you old fart. Nothing could bring me down that day." Suddenly, Jiraiya was bopped on the head by Tsunade, while Anko smacked the back of Yahiko's head. The two didn't raise their voices for the rest of the evening. "Hey, To-san." Naruto looked down at his youngest, Minato, and smiled. "Yes, son? You'll teach me tomorrow, right?" Minato asked with a hopeful look on his face. "I'm sorry, Minato, but something came up. I'll be busy all day tomorrow. But I'll train you the day after." "Promise?" Minato asked, pouting. Naruto stared at Minato for a few seconds, before grinning widely. "Promise." The next day, Naruto was sitting on the Shodai's head in the Valley of the End. Suddenly, Madara appeared on the head of his own statue. They nodded a greeting to each other. "Ready for this, Naruto-kun?" "As ready as I'll ever be," Naruto said as he reached into his coat, taking out his bow staff and extending it. "Let's get started, shall we? I promise to train Minato tomorrow, and I'd like to get home early so I can get some sleep before the training." Madara nodded, and the two charged each other, Naruto with his bow staff, and Madara with a kunai. "I won't die," Naruto thought with a smile as they clashed. "After all, I made a promise." Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Once again, huge thanks to all of my Patreons. I should be posting a couple more stories for you guys over there either today or tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that. Anyways, until next time, peace.